At the beginning of the drama, we see two children, a baby boy and a baby girl, playing outside a church. In a playful act, the boy marries the girl and tells her, "From today, you are only mine." The scene then cuts to a prestigious school where students are stepping out of their classrooms during break time. Here, we are introduced to three girls who are reading comics, despite the fact that bringing comics to school is strictly prohibited. Among them is the main female lead, Lu Shi, who is the top student in the school and has always ranked first, a record no one has been able to break. Suddenly, a commotion erupts among the students. The girls are gasping and whispering as they see a boy walk by. This boy is Sheng, the main male character who recently transferred to this school. Lu Shi's classmate is mesmerized by Sheng's good looks and keeps staring at him. When Sheng leaves, this classmate turns to Lu Shi and asks, "Why didn't you notice him? Why are you always so lost?" Another girl then chimes in, saying, "Lu Shi can never be distracted." As the conversation unfolds, a teacher notices the girls reading comics and heads toward them. One of the girls quickly hands the comic book to Lu Shi and runs away, leaving Lu Shi to face the teacher. The teacher assumes Lu Shi was the one reading the comic and starts to approach her. At this moment, Sheng unexpectedly steps in to help Lu Shi. He pulls her aside to hide, and the two manage to avoid the teacher. Frustrated, the teacher eventually gives up the search and warns that next time he catches anyone reading comics, he will call their parents. While hiding, Lu Shi can't stop staring at Sheng, amazed by his unexpected help. When the teacher leaves, Sheng casually says, "The teacher is gone, we should leave now," and walks away. Lu Shi watches him leave, lost in thought, and we hear her voiceover. "When I met my crush, Sheng, for the first time, I had no idea that he was the boy I had been searching for since my childhood." Later, as Lu Shi returns to her classroom, the teacher stops her. Thinking she's about to be scolded, she braces herself. However, to her surprise, the teacher congratulates her for scoring exceptionally well once again, this time achieving an impressive 900 marks. Lu Shi was preparing a list to present at the conference and asked for help. She sat down, ready to write her name at the top of the list, but the teacher stopped her. The teacher said, "You are the school topper, but now there's someone else. A student named Sheng transferred here just a few days ago, and he's extraordinary. Even though he hasn't fully settled in, he's already topped the school by acing the exam. But don't feel discouraged. I'm confident that by the end of the semester, you'll reclaim your position and leave Sheng behind." Lu Shi didn't respond. Instead, she quietly began writing Sheng's full name on the list. While doing so, she remembered her childhood, when she first learned to spell that very name. Sheng had the same name as her childhood crush, the boy who playfully married her outside the church. Now, after Sheng saved her recently, he had once again become her crush. The teacher, noticing something unusual, asked her, "How do you know there are 3 gaps in Sheng's full name?" Lu Shi replied, "Because this name reminded me of my childhood." She realized she liked Sheng even more. Then, noticing the tiny 0.6 centimeter gap between their names on the ranking board, she smiled to herself. The rankings were displayed on the board, and the students began discussing them excitedly. One by one, they left the area. Lu Shi, however, stayed behind and happily stared at both Sheng's name and her own. At that moment, Sheng arrived and stood very close to Lu Shi. Without saying a word, he left, and Lu Shi watched him walk away lovingly. The scene shifted to Lu Shi working on a problem she couldn't solve. Sheng approached her and said, "Your formula is wrong." Lu Shi immediately recognized him and grew nervous, but soon gathered the courage to talk to him. She asked, "Have you ever had a one-sided love?" She went on to tell him a story from an anime about a boy who loved a girl deeply, but didn't know if she felt the same way. One day, the boy asked the girl if she preferred a sunny day or a cloudy day. Sheng guessed, "The girl must have chosen a rainy day." Lu Shi corrected him, saying, "No, she chose a cloudy day." She explained that this answer brought a big smile to the boy's face because, symbolically, a cloudy day represented hope and uncertainty. Sheng laughed and said, "That's really romantic." As he tried to get a better look at Lu Shi's face, he asked, "What's your name, by the way?" But before he could see her properly, Lu Shi got up and walked away to her class. The next day, Sheng was sitting in his class playing a game when Lu Shi appeared outside. She asked one of his classmates to call him over, saying, "The teacher asked me to give this form to Sheng." When Sheng came to take the form, Lu Shi's heart began racing. Today, she was going to talk face to face with her crush for the very first time. Summoning her courage, she handed him the form and said, "The teacher asked me to give this to you." Sheng took the form, and as he did, there was once again a gap of exactly 0.6 centimeter between them. He said, "Thanks, Lu Shi." Lu Shi was shocked. "He knows my name?" she thought. Sheng then explained, "Of course I know your name. Your name is always just below mine on the rankings. You get second place, and sometimes I get nervous that you might surpass me. How could I not know your name?" Hearing this, Lu Shi was overjoyed. "My crush knows my name," she thought. But sadly, this was all just her imagination, a fantasy of how she wished the interaction had gone. When Sheng actually stood in front of Lu Shi, her mind went blank. She forgot everything she wanted to say. With a nervous stammer, she finally managed to tell him, "The teacher asked me to give you this form." Sheng quickly took the form without saying much and left almost immediately, as his friends were calling him to join their game. Lu Shi stood there, stunned. "He didn't even notice me," she thought. "Doesn't he realize I'm not just some ordinary girl? I've been the top student at this school." Frustrated, she later vented all her emotions while playing table tennis. As she smacked the ball, she thought, "What does Sheng think of himself? Has he never been curious about me? My name is always just below his on the rankings. I was number 1 before he came, and now I'll make sure he remembers my name. I'll make him notice me." The scene then shifted to Lu Shi approaching the teacher. She confidently said, "I'd like to apply for the position of student ambassador." The teacher was surprised when Lu Shi applied for the position of student ambassador, as she had never shown interest in it before. Determined to win, Lu Shi went straight to the library and started studying hard. In fact, the form she had initially gone to give Sheng was the same form she secretly filled out for herself. One day, Sheng came to the library to study and noticed Lu Shi deeply engrossed in reading several difficult books. Curious, he glanced at her but then quietly sat at his usual spot and started studying. Meanwhile, Lu Shi kept sneaking glances at him, her one-sided love growing stronger with each passing day. But whenever Sheng looked her way, she quickly sat up straight, avoiding his gaze. This is often what happens in one-sided love. People hope their crush will notice them, yet when it happens, they get nervous and shy away. In the next scene, Lu Shi is shown practicing a problem on the board in her classroom when Sheng unexpectedly shows up outside and calls her name. Startled, Lu Shi couldn't believe he was calling for her and asked, "Are you really calling me?" Sheng replied, "Yes, come here." Excited but nervous, Lu Shi approached him, only to feel crushed when Sheng asked her to call another girl from her class, Hania. He hadn't called her for herself, but only needed her help. Though heartbroken, Lu Shi reluctantly went to Hania and told her, "Sheng is calling you." Hania happily went to Sheng, and they started discussing a question together. Watching them talk, Lu Shi returned to the board, feeling hurt and jealous. Her heart broke further as she realized that the first time Sheng spoke to her was only to ask for another girl. Frustrated, she wrote angrily on the board, trying to process her emotions. The scene shifted to the day of the student ambassador competition. Determined to stand out, Lu Shi got ready with extra care and told herself, "I can do this. If I win, Sheng will finally notice me." Sitting down to give her presentation, she started imagining how it would go. In her daydream, Sheng sat beside her, and she told him, "If I win this competition, I'll tell you one of my secrets." When Sheng curiously asked, "What secret?" he suddenly disappeared, bringing Lu Shi back to reality. It was just her imagination. Outside the presentation hall, Sheng was seen talking to the teacher. To Lu Shi's shock, he withdrew his name from the competition. After explaining his reasons to the teacher, he quietly left. Inside, Lu Shi gave her presentation, and after much discussion, the teachers unanimously decided to make her the student ambassador. Later, Lu Shi found out that Sheng had withdrawn from the competition and hadn't given his presentation. She was stunned and couldn't understand why he did it. As she walked out with her certificate in hand, instead of feeling triumphant, she was consumed by anger and frustration. "No matter how hard I try, Sheng never notices me. It's like I don't matter to him. If this keeps up, he'll never know how I feel." Determined to change things, Lu Shi decided she would meet Sheng face to face and properly introduce herself. But when she went to his classroom, she discovered he wasn't there. Someone told her he was outside, so she headed out to look for him. However, just as she was about to approach him, she saw Sheng walking with Hania again. They were laughing and talking together, looking completely at ease with each other. Seeing them like that broke Lucia's heart all over again. She stood there silently, realizing that Sheng had ignored her once more, and she was left feeling invisible to him. Lucia decided for herself, this is the last time. With that, her school days came to an end. In a voiceover, Lu Shi reflected, "A good storyteller knows when and where to end the story. So, I ended my one-sided love story here. It was time to move forward with my life and start my college journey. I didn't want to repeat the mistakes I made during my teenage years." The scene transitioned to Lu Shu's first day in college. She was filled with excitement and determination, ready to start fresh. However, she was completely shocked when she saw Sheng right in front of her. Sheng had also enrolled in the same university. To make things more complicated, his girlfriend was with him. She clung to Sheng, saying, "I'll come with you to see your hostel room. I'm worried about how you'll manage living on your own after leaving home." Sheng agreed, and the two of them began walking together. Lu Shi was asked to go check her own hostel room, but her mood was dampened after seeing Sheng with his girlfriend again. As she hesitated about approaching him and introducing herself as a former schoolmate, a piece of fruit suddenly fell on her shoe, ruining it. Lu Shi took this as a sign from God, telling her not to go to Sheng. Feeling disheartened, she ran away. As Lu Shi left, Sheng turned slightly as if sensing her presence. It was a missed opportunity. Once again, they didn't meet. Sheng and his girlfriend left, and Lu Shi was left wondering if she'd ever get the chance to reconnect with him. The scene then shifted to Sheng's hostel. When Sheng entered, all the boys in the area were surprised by a girl's presence. Some started reacting with curiosity and excitement, while others whispered among themselves. Hania, Sheng's girlfriend, said, "I think I'll leave now. This place seems fine." Sheng replied, "Okay," and she left. Shortly after, Sheng stepped out of his room and saw one boy yelling at another, accusing him of breaking his phone. The boy with the broken phone angrily said, "Either repair it and return it to me or get me a new one." The accused boy, who turned out to be Sheng's roommate, became visibly upset. After the angry boy stormed off, Sheng asked his roommate what had happened. The roommate, Jiang Ming, explained, "I accidentally broke my friend's iPhone and it's going to cost a lot to repair. I don't have that kind of money. I might have to go back to my hometown." Sheng asked, "Why go back? Getting into this university isn't easy. Can't you try to figure something out?" Jiang Ming replied, "I'm poor. I can't afford to fix it, let alone buy a new one." Sheng, with a calm demeanor, said, "Let me try to repair it." Jiang Ming was shocked. "Do you really know how to fix a phone?" he asked, almost in disbelief. The scene cut to Sheng successfully repairing the phone. However, in the process, Sheng accidentally broke the screen once, but eventually managed to fix it. When he handed it back, fully functional, Jiang Ming's face lit up with joy. "It's working now," he exclaimed. As they talked, Jiang Ming asked Sheng about his college entrance exam rank. When Sheng revealed his score, Jiang Ming was stunned. "Are you serious? You're the topper? I can't believe my roommate is a topper," he said, shaking his head in disbelief. The scene ended with Jiang Ming thrilled about his repaired phone and the surprising discovery that his quiet roommate, Sheng, was the university's top-ranked student. Jiang Ming formally introduced himself to Sheng, saying, "From today, we're best friends. I'm so thankful to you for solving my problem by fixing the mobile." Sheng smiled and accepted Jiang Ming's friendship. The next day, Lu Shi was on her way to attend her class. Jiang Ming saw her and was captivated, calling her beautiful. Trying to follow her, he accidentally tripped, and a bowl of noodles spilled all over him. Everyone around started laughing at the scene, but Lu Shi didn't find it funny at all. Instead of joining in the laughter, she quietly walked away. Later, Jiang Ming, now smitten with Lu Shi, decided to find out more about her. After learning her details, he excitedly approached Sheng and said, "Today I met a very beautiful girl from your school. Her name is Lu Shi." Sheng, surprised, asked, "Did you meet Lu Shi?" "Yes, Lu Shi, that's her name. Do you know her? Is she your friend?" Jiang Ming asked eagerly. Sheng replied, "No, I've only seen her once or twice. Her name was always right below mine on the rankings for 3 years because she's really good at studies. That's how I remember her name. But I don't know her personally and I'm pretty sure she only knows me by my name." Jiang Ming grinned and said, "Well, I'll make sure to befriend Lu Shi because I already like her." We see that Lu Shi has gone to buy a dress for herself. She finds a dress she really likes, and another girl compliments her, saying, "This dress looks amazing on you. Your boyfriend won't be able to take his eyes off you, and even strangers will start noticing you." Hearing this, Lu Shi feels very happy. Later, when she is at college and the class ends, it starts raining. Sheng comes and stands next to Lu Shi. As the rain stops, Lu Shi becomes excited to see Sheng. She begins imagining a conversation, thinking to herself, "This is the perfect moment. He's alone. First, I'll say hello, and then I'll tell him that I'm Lu Shi from the same school. I'll also tell him that I've known him since childhood because once we got married outside the church and he told me, 'You are only mine.'" In her imagination, Sheng reacts in surprise, saying, "Did I really say that you're only mine?" This reveals to Lu Shi that Sheng is her childhood crush, but then her daydream ends. Before Lu Shi can talk to Sheng, Hanya arrives wearing a raincoat. To Lu Shi's dismay, Hanya is wearing the exact same dress as hers. Sheng starts praising Hanya, and she becomes happy. The two leave together, smiling and cheerful. Once again, Sheng fails to notice Lu Shi, even though she is wearing the same dress as Hanya. Heartbroken, Lu Shi returns to her room and cries deeply. She writes a few lines about how much pain Sheng is causing her. In her frustration, she throws the dress, identical to Hanya's, into the dustbin. One day, Lu Shi was on the rooftop, writing her secret feelings. She wrote down how much she loves Sheng and that she likes him more than anyone, but no one knows about it. After finishing, she hides the written lines by placing some plants over them. Later in her room, a new roommate named Bali arrives, along with her boyfriend, Gabi. Lu Shi shows Bali around the room and explains about the other roommates who aren't there at the moment. Bali suggests they add each other on WeChat, and while Lu Shi is scanning Bali's ID, Gabi also scans Lu Shi's ID. He says, "I'm adding you so that if I can't reach Bali, you can give me updates about her." Bali looks at her boyfriend angrily and then sends him away, saying, "You're probably getting late for class." After Gabi leaves, Bali apologizes to Lu Shi for her boyfriend's behavior. Lu Shi says, "It's okay." Bali then asks Lu Shi if she has a boyfriend, to which Lu Shi responds, "No." Bali presses further, asking if Lu Shi has a crush on someone. Lu Shi falls silent, and Bali quickly understands that Lu Shi likes someone. To lighten the mood, Bali pulls out her cards and asks Lu Shi to choose one. When Lu Shi picks a card, Bali playfully interprets it and starts talking about Lu Shi's love life. Lu Shi's voiceover reveals, "This girl gradually became my best friend because she had such a kind and good nature." In the next scene, Lu Shi is shown studying in her room when she overhears some people discussing how Sheng has recently broken up. Shocked, Lu Shi quickly checks the news and confirms that it's true. Meanwhile, we see Sheng receiving a voice message from Hanaya saying, "We've broken up, but you still won't make another girlfriend, will you?" Sheng suddenly gets up to leave but stops when he hears someone singing a sweet song. Before he can see who the girl is, Zhang Wing arrives, calling out Sheng's name loudly. Sheng asks him to lower his voice, saying that the girl singing isn't just anyone random. As it turns out, the girl is Lu Shi. However, by the time Sheng looks again, Lu Shi has already left. Lu Shi notices a question written on the wall, likely written by Sheng, but she doesn't realize this and writes an answer below the question. In the next scene, Lu Shi is in the library with Bali. Bali gives Lu Shi some tips on how to get her crush's attention. Bali decides to demonstrate by approaching different boys. First, she tries talking to one boy, but he isn't interested at all. Then she approaches a second boy, but he ignores her. Bali tries with a third boy, but he also brushes her off. Watching all of this, Lu Shi can't help but laugh. Finally, Bali approaches a fourth boy, intentionally dropping something and offering him tissues to get his attention. However, the boy grabs Bali's clothes and lifts her up. It's none other than her boyfriend, Gabi. Bali is shocked. Gabi looks upset, and Bali quickly starts explaining, "I was just teaching Lu Shi how to flirt. I had no intention of teasing anyone." At first, Gabi doesn't believe her, but Lu Shi confirms that Bali was only trying to help her practice. Gabi eventually accepts Bali's explanation and says, "You have to kiss me as an apology." Bali kisses Gabi, and he forgives her. In the next scene, we see Lu Shi crossing the bicycle racks when she notices a girl clinging to Sheng and refusing to let him go. The girl insists, "Make me your girlfriend now that you're single, or I won't let you go today." Sheng tries to reason with her, saying, "But my friend likes you, so I can't be in any kind of relationship with you." However, the girl doesn't relent, asking why he's rejecting her because of his friend. At this moment, and wonders to herself, does Sheng remember my name? Is he really talking to me? Sheng tells the girl, "I need to talk to my schoolmate alone." The girl, now angry, pushes Lu Shi and leaves. Lu Shi says to Sheng, "You should thank me because I helped you." Sheng replies, "Come on, I'll buy you a coffee as a thank you." As Sheng starts walking away, Lu Shi stands frozen, confused. She thinks, is Sheng really talking to me today? Is this my imagination? And he's inviting me for coffee? When Sheng asks, "What happened? Don't you want to come?" she happily follows him. At the cafe, there's a moment of silence between them. Sheng begins talking about himself, but Lu Shi interrupts him, saying, "I know you." Sheng, who was very popular and outstanding in school, looks at her in surprise. Lu Shi starts sharing several details about Sheng, all from her memories. Sheng realizes that Lu Shi knows him very well and says, "It's strange that you know so much about me, but we never talked to each other. We should have spoken on some pretext." Lu Shi falls silent, thinking to herself about how she had always tried so hard to talk to Sheng in the past, but he had always ignored her. Realizing she might be talking too much in her excitement, she decides to leave, saying, "I don't want to take up more of your time." As she walks away, Sheng follows her and stops her. He asks for her WeChat ID, which shocks Lu Shi. It means he wants to be friends with her. At first, instead, she searches for her ID in Sheng's phone and gives it to him. She then says goodbye and leaves. Lu Shi didn't when she introduced herself to the class, her teacher recited this poem, which had her name and Sheng's name in it. Since then, the poem became her favorite. The scene cuts to Bali, who is crying after a fight with her boyfriend Gabby. Lu Shi tries to comfort Bali, telling her that everything will be okay. Bali responds, "You've never dated anyone, so you won't understand my pain." Lu Shi replies, "You're right, I've never dated anyone, but I've had a crush on the same boy for 15 years. Bali is shocked at Shi's love story. She's also thrilled to learn that Lu Shi finally got to talk to her longtime crush, Sheng, today. Later that night, we see Sheng with his friend Jiang Wing. Jiang Wing says, "It's strange that your schoolmate Lu Shi, who is so beautiful and intelligent, wasn't even on your radar during school." Sheng replies, "It's not that I didn't notice her, I must have been too focused on my studies." He then adds, "By the way, I met Lu Shi today and we had coffee together." Jiang Wing is shocked and asks, "Did you two talk?" Sheng nods, saying, "Yes, and it was strange. I was talking to her for the first time, but it felt like I already knew her. She reminded me of my childhood crush. When I was younger, I liked a girl. Back then, I was very weak, and other kids used to bully me. That girl always saved me from those bullies." Jiang Wing laughs and says, "Wow, so you had your first love in childhood." Sheng replies, "Not love, I just liked her. She was very attractive to me. I don't know where she is now, what she's doing, or even what she's studying at university. There's so much I want to know about that girl." Sheng says, "I want to, but I can't figure it out. When I met Lu Shi and talked to her, she reminded me of my childhood friend. That's why I felt more drawn to Lu Shi." Jiang Wing teases, "You look so serious and adorable while talking about this. I can tell that your childhood friend is very important to you. I truly hope you can meet her again someday." We see that Lu Shi was standing outside the class and talking behind Lu Shi. As the wind began to blow, the pages of Lu Shi's diary started flipping back and forth, revealing everything Lu Shi had written for Sheng. Startled, Lu Shi quickly ran and closed her diary. Sheng noticed Lu Shi and began looking at her as well, and then Lu Shi greeted him with her eyes. Seeing this, Sheng also smiled and became happy. Lu Shi, feeling shy, sat down in her seat as the teacher entered the classroom. After the class ended, Zhang Ming came into the room and was surprised to see Lu Shi because he liked her. Excited, he started talking to Sheng about her but accidentally spilled coffee on Lu Shi in the process. Lu Shi was shocked, and Sheng looked upset. Zhang Ming began apologizing non-stop. Before Sheng could offer Lu Shi a tissue, Zhang Ming handed one to her, which she accepted. Sheng seemed worried about Lu Shi, but she reassured him, saying, "I'm fine." Zhang Ming, however, kept overacting while trying to apologize. Lu Shi then joked with Zhang Ming, saying, "Noodle guy, why do I feel like you spilled coffee on me on purpose just so you could talk to me like in dramas?" Zhang Ming froze, realizing she was right. It had been intentional. Embarrassed, he stammered. Lu Shi walking back home, looking happy because she and Sheng were now classmates. On her way, she met Gabby, who asked her, "Why are you looking so happy today?" The smile on Lu Shi's face disappeared. Gabby teased her, saying, "I'm not a monster, so why do you always..." Scolding him, she left. On the other hand, we see Zhang Ming confronting Gabby, asking, "Do you like Lu Shi? Because earlier you said you didn't know her, and now you're always meeting her." Gabby brushed it off, saying, "There's nothing like that. We just ran into each other in class. And as for liking her, I have no intentions of dating anyone right now. I'm just focusing on my studies." Zhang Ming pressed him, "Are you sure? Because I told you last time that I like Lu Shi and want to make her my girlfriend." Gabby casually replied, "Yes, it's up to you. I'm saying nothing." Hearing this, Zhang Ming felt relieved and thought to himself, "Now that Sheng isn't interested, I'll definitely impress Lu Shi somehow." The next day, after class ended, Zhang Ming stopped Lu Shi and said, "Can I treat you to ice cream as an apology for spilling coffee on you yesterday?" Before Lu Shi could reply, Sheng left the room. Lu Shi looked sadly at Sheng as he walked away, and Zhang Ming noticed this. Lu Shi politely declined Zhang Ming's offer, saying, "It's okay, you don't need to treat me." As she turned to leave, Zhang Ming felt relieved and thought to himself, "Wow, she's so awesome." Meanwhile, Sheng was watching them from afar and muttered to Zhang Ming, "You're such a loser. You can try to make Lu Shi your girlfriend, but now she is worried because she doesn't understand what's going on between her and Sheng." Well, now we see Zhang Ming again, who has brought ice cream. While both he and Lu Shi are eating, Zhang Ming says, "Yes, you were right. The girl I liked actually liked Sheng. In fact, she only became friends with me because I was Sheng's friend." Then, a flashback shows the moment when a girl had held onto Sheng's hand and Sheng told her to let go, saying, "My friend likes you, so I can't have any relationship with you." Zhang Ming overheard the conversation from a distance and felt good that Sheng had refused the girl out of loyalty to him. Back in the present, when Lu Shi hears this, she says, "You're a good person. Even after all of that, you showed wisdom and didn't break your friendship with Sheng. That's rare." Zhang Ming responds, "Of course I didn't break the friendship. Sheng wasn't at fault, so I couldn't end my friendship with my good friend just because of a girl." Lu Shi starts feeling happy hearing Zhang Ming's words. As they continue walking and talking, Zhang Ming tells Lu Shi about Sheng's ex-girlfriend Hania, who had been his girlfriend since school. He shares how Sheng told him that Hania didn't truly love him. She treated Sheng like a bag from her branded collection. She only boasted about dating him because he was a topper. For example, whenever Sheng brought her a black can, she would shout loudly to everyone, "Wow, Sheng brought me a can," before even opening it. And when Sheng texted her, she would show off the chat to others and post screenshots on her stories saying, "Wow, my boyfriend Sheng is taking me to dinner." Zhang Ming continues, "Hania was always showing off, but love is a private thing that we should keep hidden. It's not something to flaunt." Lu Shi agrees, "Yes, I understand. Whenever I saw them together, Hania's loud voice could be heard from a distance because she always wanted everyone to know what they were talking about. But anyway, we shouldn't talk about them anymore. It was their life." Zhang Ming nods, "Yes, you're absolutely right. I wonder what Lu Shi and Sheng are talking about together." At that moment, Lu Shi's roommate Dom arrives and thanks Zhang Ming for the ice cream. Zhang Ming then says, "Today, I've talked a lot about Sheng. I wanted to tell you all of this because if you like Sheng, I want you to know he's a good guy and you two would look good together." In truth, Zhang Ming wanted Lu Shi to refuse or to confess her feelings about Sheng, but instead, Lu Shi avoids the topic, says bye, and starts to leave. Zhang Ming stops her, saying, "Wait a minute, can I ask you one last question? What is it about Sheng that every girl becomes his fan? I mean, I'm asking so I can become like him." Before Lu Shi can answer, Zhang Ming receives a good luck message from Sheng, which Lu Shi also notices. Nervous, Zhang Ming starts explaining, No, it's not what you think." Lu Shi snaps, "Just a while ago, you were telling me that I should think about marrying Sheng, but now Sheng is wishing you good luck. Did you go out for ice cream with me with some ulterior motive? You're really confusing me. I don't know what's going on between you and Sheng about me, but I refuse to be made fun of." She storms, I made a good impression on Lu Shi, but Sheng ruined it all. The scene then cuts to Lu Shi in her room. She slams the door in anger, waking up her third roommate, Limi. Limi works a part-time job while studying, so she gets ready in a hurry to leave. Meanwhile, Bali, another roommate, is crying in the room because of Gabby. However, Limi notices only Lu Shi and asks, "Is everything okay? You look upset today." Lu Shi replies, "I'm fine." Limi says, "When I come back, I'll bring snacks for all of you," and leaves. After Limi leaves, Bali starts crying louder, saying, "I've been crying for half an hour, but Limi only noticed you. And Xiao doesn't pay attention to me either, she just keeps studying." At that moment, Xiao comes out, apologizes, and hands lollipops to both Bali and Lu Shi before returning to her studies. Lu Shi asks Bali, "What happened?" Bali explains, "Gabi is flirting with the fresher girls. He even went for a walk with some of them, but I'm his girlfriend. He should be going on walks with me. I've decided I'm definitely breaking up with him." Lu Shi responds, "If he's flirting with other girls, then you should leave him." Bali agrees, "Yes, of course I will leave her." On the other hand, we see Sheng and Zhang Ming playing baseball together. Zhang Ming was throwing the ball hard at Sheng because he was angry with him, and he kept troubling Sheng for a long time. Finally, Sheng asked, "Why are you angry with me?" Zhang Ming angrily replied, "When I liked a girl before, she was interested in you, and because of that, our conversation didn't work out. And now, when I want to make Lu Shi my girlfriend, it seems like you don't want that to happen either. You even wanted to come with us to eat ice cream. If that's the case, if you trust Lu Shi, then why aren't you telling me this clearly?" Sheng sighed and explained, "Lu Shi is my schoolmate, and I want to get to know her properly. Until I understand her better, I can't say anything. From the beginning, I've had many girls around me who spoke sweetly to me, but their only motive was for me to become their boyfriend. I don't want that. I want to date someone who is genuine and loves me for who I am, not because I'm famous or good-looking. I just want true love. This time, I don't want to rush into anything so that I don't become someone's branded bag again." Hearing this, Zhang Ming calmed down. Seeing Sheng so upset, he said, "Look, I want the best for you. That's why I was asking these things. But now, you have to promise me, if you start liking Lu Shi, you'll tell me the truth. Don't hide your feelings from me so that I don't get caught in a love triangle." Sheng agreed, "All right, that's fair. I just want to focus on my studies for now. But if I feel that Lu Shi is really different from other girls, or if I feel more than friendship for her, I'll let you know. After that, we'll leave it to Lu Shi to decide who she chooses." Zhang Ming replied, "That's fair, but I should tell you, when you sent that good luck message, Lu Shi also read it, so now you should meet her and explain that it wasn't my fault." Sheng was surprised, asking, "Lu Shi read that message?" He began to worry, thinking, what must she be thinking about me now? Meanwhile, Lu Shi was deeply upset. After all, how could any girl tolerate her crush wishing another boy good luck to win someone else's heart? She felt hurt and confused. The part ends with Lu Shi feeling upset and Sheng wondering how to explain himself to her. We see that when Lu Shi was in the convenience store, someone was following her, none other than Gabby. Lu Shi turned and asked, "Why are you following me?" Gabby quickly handed her some cookies and said, "Please give these to Bali. They're her favorite, and since she's angry with me, I want to convince her." Lu Shi replied, "Bali doesn't even like these cookies." She started to leave, but Gabby stopped her, saying, "I need your help." However, Lu Shi ignored him. Frustrated, Gabby came out, grabbed Lu Shi's hand and pleaded, "I've brought flowers for Bali. Please give them to her. She isn't answering my calls." Lu Shi looked at him and said, "She doesn't want to talk to you because you keep breaking her heart. She also knows you're always flirting with other girls. That's why she doesn't even want to see you." Gabby got upset and retorted, "Who are you to decide whether Bali will accept the flowers or not?" Angrily, Lu Shi replied, "Bali is allergic to these flowers. You've been her boyfriend for a whole year. Don't you even know what your girlfriend likes and dislikes?" Gabby went silent for a moment but soon started to argue back. Before the conversation could escalate, someone threw a ball at Gabby. It was Sheng. Sheng walked over to them and asked, "Is there something wrong?" Gabby quickly replied, "No, she's my girlfriend's roommate. I was just talking to her for a little while." He then took his flowers and left. Sheng turned to Lu Shi and asked, "Are you okay?" Lu Shi nodded, "Yes, I'm fine." Sheng smiled and said, "Well, this time I saved you, so you should thank me." Lu Shi took out a can from her bag and handed it to Sheng. He looked at it fondly, tasted it, and said, "It's good." Lu Shi then said, "I'm leaving," and walked away. Later, when Lu Shi went to the library, she realized Sheng had followed her. She turned and asked, "Are you following me?" Sheng denied it, saying, "No." While picking up his book, Sheng noticed Lu Shi's book and realized she liked mystery novels too. They started talking and discovered they had the same taste in books. During their conversation, they realized they had many similarities, even down to their favorite writers. Sheng remarked, "It's strange. We've known each other since school, but we only became friends now in college. Yet you've met Jiang Ming twice, and you're already friends with him." Lu Shi, with a hint of regret, said, "Yes, we never really got to talk before." Sheng asked, "Why do you sound so sad about it? Do you really regret that we didn't become friends earlier?" Lu Shi hesitated for a moment, then laughed awkwardly and said, "No, it's not like that. Why would I worry about this?" Sheng then asked, "Can we become close friends? I want to know you better." Lu Shi was shocked. Her heart raced as she realized her crush wanted to know her better. Nervously, she made an excuse and left, feeling both surprised and happy. In the next scene, we see Lu Shi returning to her room, where Bali repeatedly asked her about Gabby. Although Bali had angrily told Lu Shi not to take anything from Gabby, she now regretted that decision. Bali confessed, "I should have taken the flowers, even though I was mad. He brought flowers for me for the first time." Lu Shi tried to console Bali, saying, "I don't think Gabby is serious about you." But Bali, showing attitude, replied, "That's why I'm showing attitude too." However, she soon felt sad and muttered, "I should have taken the flowers, even if I would have been allergic to them later." Seeing Bali's sadness, the scene shifted. Bali's roommate, Xiao, came in and said, "Flowers have arrived for you." Bali was shocked and thought Gabi had sent them. She decided she would accept them this time. Bali went downstairs with Lu Shi. When she saw the flowers, she was overjoyed to find they were her favorite and ones she wasn't allergic to. Ecstatic, she grabbed the flowers and ran around happily, shouting, "These are the first flowers I've ever received." She was so thrilled that everyone started cheering for her. Lu Shi was also happy for Bali. A flashback showed Lu Shi smiling as she saw how much Bali's mood had improved. Luce hadn't realized it, but she had booked the flowers for Bali herself. This means Gabi did not give the flowers to Bali. Lu Shi had ordered them for her. The scene shifts to the canteen, where Gabi called Bali to sit next to him. Lu Shi started walking away to sit separately, but Bali stopped her and pleaded, "Please sit with me." After Bali's repeated requests, Lu Shi agreed, and both sat down together. Gabi, happy to see Lu Shi, remarked, "You eat so little, that's why you're so thin." Bali began offering her dish to Lu Shi, but then Gabi sent Bali away on some pretext to get something. As soon as Bali left, Gabi leaned closer to Lu Shi and started flirting again, saying, "You're my girlfriend's best friend, so it's my duty to worry about you." Lu Shi, clearly annoyed, snapped, "A person like you will never change. You just keep sinking lower. Stay away from me." She stormed off, leaving Gabi muttering, "What did she just say to me?" Bali, sensing something was wrong, ran after Lu Shi to stop her. Lu Shi vented, "Your boyfriend is a #1 bad person. You should stay away from him too." Bali tried to calm her down, saying, "There must have been some misunderstanding. Please don't be angry. You're my best friend, and I can't bear to see you upset." Lu Shi began to calm down. As they talked, they noticed a girl nearby, Rouge. Bali commented, "She's strange. Everyone calls her crazy." Lu Shi replied, "She was in my school, and even then, she was different." Rouge noticed them talking about her and stopped them from leaving, saying, "I want to talk to Lu Shi. Let's go for dinner. I know you haven't eaten yet." Reluctantly, Lu Shi went with Rouge for dinner. After eating, Rouge started drinking heavily and began talking about Luz. She said, "You've been super intelligent since school. You were every teacher's favorite, never lagging behind in anything." Lu Shi, surprised, asked, "How do you know so much about me?" Rouge replied, "I also know how big of a bitch you are. I know everything in your mind, including the fact that you have a crush on my crush, Sheng." Lu Shi was stunned. Rouge continued, "It feels strange when you realize you're not the only one who likes someone. There are many others with the same feelings, and I'm one of them." A flashback reveals how Rouge had confessed her feelings to Sheng in school. She told him she loved him and asked him out, but Sheng rejected her, saying, "Thanks, but I can't date someone I don't feel anything for." Rouge had argued, "We're a perfect match!" But Sheng still turned her down and walked away. Back in the present, Lu Shi said, "We're the same, but you've been braver than me. You at least expressed your feelings." Rouge then asked, "Are you still in touch with Sheng's ex-girlfriend Hania? She was your classmate, right?" Luz replied, "No, I'm not in touch with her." As Luz got up to leave, Rouge shouted angrily, "How dare you leave without my permission? Sheng doesn't deserve a girl like you." Lu Shi, now angry, retorted, "What is your problem? Do you think you own Sheng to be saying all this to me?" Bali quickly stepped in, trying to calm Luz down. Frustrated, Lu Shi said, "I shouldn't have come here. I should have stayed with Gabby and you in the canteen. At least I wouldn't have to listen to this nonsense." Rouge kept rambling, saying, "Sheng is mine! Stay away from him!" As Lu Shi and Bali tried to leave, Rouge fainted from drinking too much. Left with no choice, Lu Shi and Bali had to take her back to her dorm. On their way, they ran into their other roommates, Xiao and Limei, who offered to help. Rouge, half-conscious, kept mumbling, "I like Sheng. I like him so much. Even if he doesn't like me, I'll always love him because he's mine." She fainted again, forcing all four of them to carry her back to her room. After settling Rouge, a flashback shows a scene where Lu Shi, heartbroken, had thrown away her dress and diary into the trash. The diary contained everything she had ever written about Sheng, from A to Z, how much she liked him. After the rain scene, Lu Shi had decided she no longer wanted to think about Sheng at all. That diary became a relic of her hidden emotions. Rouge picked up the diary and sat down to read it, going through everything Luz had written about her feelings for Sheng. With every page, Rouge grew angrier. She couldn't believe what she was reading. Meanwhile, Lu Shi and Sheng were slowly becoming good friends. One day, as they were chatting in the library, Rouge was secretly watching them. She had made up her mind. She saw Lu Shi as her enemy and was determined to do whatever it took to separate them. The scene then shifted to the present, where Lu Shi arrived at her relative's house. As soon as she stepped out of the car, her younger sister Ko greeted her warmly. Shortly after, a lady named Miss Mo came out to welcome Luz. In their conversation, Miss Mo mentioned her two children, saying, "Coco doesn't cause much trouble, but Jack is very stubborn. You'll need to keep an eye on him to make sure he doesn't fight with his sister." Lu Shi was there to tutor her cousins, but Miss Mo had a special request. "Could you take both kids to the amusement park tomorrow? They've been begging to go for a long time." Lu Shi agreed, saying, "Yes, I'm free tomorrow." The scene then cut to the amusement park, where Lu Shi was with her two cousins. They rode on several attractions, enjoyed themselves to the fullest, and laughed together. Lu Shi even took photos of the two kids, capturing their joy. Unbeknownst to her, Sheng was also at the amusement park. He was there with his roommates, who had brought their girlfriends along. Though they were in the same place, Lu and Sheng didn't see each other at first. The scene transitioned to Lu Shi bringing her cousins to eat burgers. It was here that she finally ran into Sheng. Both were surprised and happy to see each other. Sheng greeted Lu Shi with a smile, and she couldn't help but smile back. The unexpected meeting brought a sense of warmth and joy. Sheng was surprised to see Lu Shi. Lu Shi explained that she had come with her cousins and that she was their tutor. Sheng acknowledged this and added that he had come with his roommates, who were both with their girlfriends. Lu Shi glanced over at them, and Sheng smirked, saying, "Why? Are you looking for Zhang Ming? I think that's who you're searching for." Lu Shi quickly clarified, "No, I was looking for my cousins because they're also sitting with your roommates." Sheng then asked Lu Shi to bring food, and the scene transitioned to show everyone sitting together. One of Sheng's friends asked, "Who's this girl?" Sheng replied, "She's my schoolmate. We met here by coincidence." The two girls sitting with them then started asking Sheng, "Where do you usually go in your free time? We might need help with our studies. Can you explain some questions to us?" Sheng smirked and replied, "You should ask your boyfriends those questions. I'll explain it to them and they can explain it to you." Hearing this, both girls were annoyed. In reality, they had only become the girlfriends of Sheng's roommates in hopes of getting closer to him. Coco then chimed in, "I feel like eating ice cream." Lu Shi got up to get ice cream, and the two girls immediately urged Sheng's roommates to get ice cream as well, hoping to be left alone with Sheng. However, Sheng had already understood their intentions, so he said, "No, you both wait. I'll go get the ice cream." Then he left, leaving the two girls even more frustrated. In the next scene, Lu Shi was buying ice cream when Sheng approached her and asked, "Can I join you?" I mean, you, me, and your cousins, we can take the rides together. I don't really feel like hanging out with my roommates. They practically dragged me here just because their girlfriends wanted to meet me." Lu Shi agreed, saying, "That's fine. You can join us." Hearing this, Sheng was delighted. Without hesitation, he paid for the ice cream Lu Shi was about to buy. Meanwhile, Sheng's roommates' girlfriends were furious when they realized that Sheng had ditched them to join Lu Shi. They quickly made an excuse and left. Elsewhere, one of Sheng's roommates showed a picture of Sheng and Lu Shi to another friend, asking, "Doesn't it seem like Sheng likes this girl? He never gives this much attention to anyone else?" The other friend agreed. "Yeah, I think so too." They then sent the photo to Zhang Ming, asking if he knew the girl. At that moment, Zhang Ming, who was struggling to learn a magic trick, received the photo. When he saw it, he was shocked. "Sheng was just telling me that he doesn't like Lu Shi, but now look at this." The scene then shifts to Sheng, who was having fun racing with Lu Shi's cousins. Meanwhile, Lu Shi was overwhelmed, trying to process everything. "I can't believe I'm at an amusement park with Sheng, and he's actually having fun with us. The boy I used to admire from a distance has become such a good friend of mine. I can't believe it at all." As the four of them were deciding which rides to go on, a fight broke out between Jack and Coco. Upset, Coco walked away and sat elsewhere, crying. "Jack always fights with me," she sobbed. Lu Shi comforted her, giving her advice and helping her calm down. Meanwhile, Sheng spoke to Jack, saying, "You shouldn't fight with your younger sister." Jack muttered, "She's not my real sister. We have different fathers." Sheng sighed and replied, "That's even more of a reason to take better care of her. You're still family." He continued explaining things to Jack until he finally understood. When Coco returned, Jack apologized to her, and she forgave him. Seeing them happy again, both Lu Shi and Sheng smiled at each other. A random person took a candid photo of them, and when they looked at it, the picture had turned out beautifully. Lu Shi decided to keep it. Sheng then said, "I'm going to buy tickets for the roller coaster since the line is long." While he was gone, Lu Shi went on another ride with her cousins. However, she kept looking at the photo over and over, feeling happier each time. Meanwhile, Zhang Ming received a message saying that a girl had come to see him. Excited, he rushed outside, but his excitement faded the moment he saw who it was. It was none other than Hania, Sheng's ex-girlfriend. The smile vanished from Zhang Ming's face. Hania immediately started asking, "Where's Sheng? I heard that the girl who liked you was actually after Sheng, but thank God Sheng didn't accept her. She wasn't on his level at all. Only someone like you would date her." Zhang Ming's expression darkened. "I don't know where Sheng is, and please don't say unnecessary things." Hania continued, "Are you sure Sheng hasn't made a new girlfriend? Because I wouldn't be able to tolerate that." At that moment, Zhang Ming received the latest picture of Sheng and Lu Shi together. Looking at it, an idea formed in his mind. "Look, he's gone out with that girl, so it's better for you to forget about him now." Hania was shocked. Sheng has gone beyond casual interactions with Lu Shi? How can he do this? She couldn't believe it. Sheng can't be friends with Lu Shi. However, she quickly calmed herself down and said, "I broke up with Sheng in anger, but now I'm back. No girl can get close to Sheng except me." With that, she left and went straight to her best friend Rose, who was also Lu Shi's classmate. Hania vented to Rose, telling her everything. "Lu Shi is trying to get close to Sheng. How could he do this when we only broke up a short while ago? I thought Sheng would fight with his family for me because his mom didn't like me, but he doesn't seem to care about our breakup at all." She then recalled how she first entered Sheng's life back in school. One day, when Lu Shi was talking to Sheng, she had told him a story. Hania had overheard it from behind. When Lu Shi got up and left, Hania realized that the person Lu Shi had spoken to was Sheng. The next day, Hania went to the same spot and waited. When Sheng arrived, he asked her, "Were you the one who spoke to me yesterday and told me that story?" Hania lied. "Yes, it was me." She then acted as if she was struggling with a problem. "I'm trying to solve this, but I can't figure it out." Sheng, believing her, said, "Show me, I'll help you." And just like that, their friendship began, and Hania became Sheng's girlfriend. If Lu Shi hadn't walked away that day and had actually met Sheng, she might have ended up as his girlfriend instead. Back in the present, Rose, who also didn't like Lu Shi, encouraged Hania, "You have to take Sheng away from Lu Shi again." Meanwhile, at the amusement park, everyone was about to go on the roller coaster ride. Lu Shi felt thirsty, so Sheng took a water bottle from his bag and handed it to her. Lu Shi hesitated for a moment before taking it, feeling a little nervous. "I'm drinking water from my crush's bottle." Later, they arrived at a restaurant. While putting their belongings away, Lu Shi placed Sheng's phone in her bag for safekeeping. Sheng turned to her and asked, "Are you scared?" Lu Shi confidently replied, "Not at all. This ride is my favorite." However, when the ride started, Lu Shi's confidence wavered. Sheng noticed that she was getting nervous. As the roller coaster sped up, Sheng gently placed his hand on hers. Lu Shi froze. Sheng, on the other hand, was pleased. The way he was subconsciously getting close to Lu Shi made it clear he had started liking her. After the ride ended, Lu Shi couldn't stop staring at her hand. Her mind was flooded with memories. "When I was a child, Sheng touched my hand and gave me a toffee. In school, I supported him with my hand when he fell asleep. And now, today, Sheng touched my hand again." Next, they went on a water ride. They all had a great time, laughing and getting drenched. But while everyone was happy, Hania was still fuming. She confided in Rose, "Lu Shi is the sister of my old crush. The guy I liked was actually Lu Shi's older brother. Back in school, when I found out that Lu Shi liked Sheng the way I liked her brother, I thought she would help me get close to him. But she didn't. She never talked to me, never added me on WeChat, just like her brother ignored me. So now I won't let Lu Shi have her love either, no matter what I have to do." Hearing this, Rose grinned. "Don't worry, I'll support you completely." Later, Sheng brought back ice cream for everyone. Instead of keeping his own, he gave it to Lu Shi and sat down to fix her shoelaces. Lu Shi's heartbeat raced. Seeing Sheng do something so thoughtful for her made her incredibly happy. "Today is my day. This is the best day of my life. I never thought I would randomly meet my crush here and spend the whole day with him." As they sat together, Sheng casually asked, "Which subjects do you teach the kids?" Lu Shi replied, "English, math, and violin." She also mentioned her salary. Sheng nodded. "That's great. If my family allows it, I'd also like to tutor them for their other subjects. You should talk to their mom for me." Lu Shi's happiness soared. "Sheng wants to teach the kids just so he can be closer to me." But just then, Sheng's phone vibrated. Since it was in Lu Shi's bag, she instinctively looked at the screen. Hania's name flashed across it, along with multiple messages. Lu Shi's heart sank. The phone was locked, so she couldn't read the messages, but she already knew. Hania had reached out to Sheng. Quietly, she handed him his phone. When Sheng saw Hania's messages after such a long time, he was surprised. As he opened them, he realized that Hania had written all sorts of things against Lu Shi. "I found out that you're with Lu Shi right now. She's a terrible girl who is deliberately trying to get close to you. I've learned a lot about her, just trust me. Your meeting with her wasn't a coincidence. It was all part of her plan." Sheng was stunned and confused. Why is Hania saying this? Meanwhile, Lu Shi noticed the change in Sheng's expression as he read the messages. She could tell something was wrong. She asked, "Are you coming with us?" Sheng quickly looked up and replied, "Yes." He then got into the car. But even as they drove, he kept looking at the messages again and again. Hania had sent a lot, filling his mind with false accusations against Lu Shi. Lu Shi, on the other hand, felt uncomfortable. The moment Hania's messages arrived, everything changed. The energy around them had shifted completely. We see Lu Shi visiting Dom and thanks Sheng for a beautiful day, but Sheng apologizes for causing a misunderstanding with Jiang Ming, who secretly likes Lu Shi. Sheng suggests they remain just friends, breaking Lu Shi's heart as she realizes he doesn't see her romantically. She leaves, sad and angry, questioning if she'll ever be special to him. Back in her room, Bali notices Lu Shi's sadness. Lu Shi shares her heartbreak over Sheng, while Bali opens up about her fear of losing Gabi, the man she loves, to another woman. Their shared pain brings them closer as friends. Meanwhile, Sheng plays baseball with Jiang Ming, but is visibly frustrated. Jiang Ming teases him about Hania returning and warns Sheng to figure out his feelings. Sheng admits he's confused between Lu Shi and Hania. Elsewhere, Hania's best friend, Rose, struggles with unrequited love for Lu Shi's brother, Yang. They met in a painting class, and while Rose developed feelings, Yang saw her only as a younger student. After Rose refused to accept this, Yang began ignoring her. Now he secretly watches her from afar, while Rose, heartbroken, destroys her painting but eventually starts fixing it. Determined to confess her feelings, Lu Shi heads to Sheng's place, only to find out from Jiang Ming that Sheng went out with Hania. Crushed, Lu Shi quietly leaves, her heartbreak clear to Jiang Ming. Later, in class, Jiang Ming tries to cheer Lu Shi up with a sandwich, but she remains lost in thoughts of Sheng. Meanwhile, Sheng spends time with Hania and Rose, who badmouth Lu Shi, claiming she's only interested in beating Sheng academically. They even show him a photo of Lu Shi's diary, where she wrote that Sheng is her inspiration, twisting it to suggest she's obsessed with defeating him. Sheng is confused, but scolds them for invading Lu Shi's privacy, demanding they delete the photo. Back in her room, Lu Shi anxiously checks her phone, hoping Sheng will reach out. Bali, frustrated, urges her to talk to him directly. But Lu Shi, holding on to hope, softly says, "I've waited 15 years for Sheng. I can wait a few more days." Sheng is restless, doubting whether Lu Shi befriended him just to achieve her goals. His roommates confront him about leaving Ami-Jement Park, but Sheng snaps back, annoyed. Jiang Ming diffuses the tension, though Sheng remains haunted by Hania's words. A flashback reveals how Sheng once motivated his classmates, inspiring Lu Shi to write in her diary that he was her role model. In the present, Lu Shi and Bali head to the canteen, but Lu Shi turns away, disappointed after missing Sheng again. After days of waiting, she texts Sheng, offering him a tutoring job for her cousins. Sheng coldly rejects the offer, saying he's busy with competitions and doesn't need the money. This shatters Lu Shi's heart, and she breaks down in class. Jiang Ming, worried, texts Sheng, asking what he said to Lu Shi. Lu Shi recalls a painful memory of struggling to buy a book for a competition. Unable to afford it, she tried to copy notes, only for Hania to mock her. Later, Hania gave her the book, claiming Sheng bought it, making Lu Shi feel grateful to her for the first time. In the present, after crying, Lu Shi suggests getting ice cream with Jiang Ming, trying to drown her sadness in food. Jiang Ming reveals that Sheng didn't remember Lu Shi from school, deepening her heartbreak. Meanwhile, Sheng receives Jiang Ming's message about Lu Shi crying and sends her a brief, "Sorry." Lu Shi, confused, asks why he keeps apologizing. Sheng starts to explain but deletes his message, haunted by doubts planted by Hania. As he leaves, he notices a wall where he'd once written a question, now answered by Lu Shi, though the story leaves the content a mystery. Lu Shi, lost in thoughts of Sheng, recalls their childhood encounter when Sheng helped an elderly man at a bus stop. While Hania admired him, Lu Shi quietly fell for his kindness, though she believed he never noticed her. Later, her brother Yang calls, telling her their aunt is fine after a hospital visit. Yang is with Rose, who secretly sketches on his coat. When Yang later finds the drawing, he finds it cute but leaves the coat behind, unknowingly hurting Rose. At the canteen, Bali waits for Gabby, excited to have lunch together, but he cancels due to work. Bali overhears Gabby's friends gossiping about his flirtatious nature and confronts them, defending him. However, she later breaks down in front of Lu Shi, revealing her fears about Gabby's loyalty. The next day, in the library, Sheng notices Lu Shi crying quietly while studying. For the first time, he truly sees her vulnerability and beauty. After Lu Shi leaves, Sheng finds a message she wrote on the library window. "We can like someone very much, but we may never be able to live with them, and only we know this truth." This stuns Sheng, making him realize Lu Shi's feelings were genuine, not obsessive. Later, Lu Shi texts Jiang Ming to join her in class, but before he arrives, Sheng unexpectedly sits next to her. Lu Shi, shocked, wonders why Sheng is now choosing to be close to her after all his efforts to keep his distance. When Jiang Ming arrives, he's shocked to see Sheng beside Lu Shi. "Where should I sit now?" he asks. Lu Shi offers her seat, but Sheng points to an empty one behind them. "You can sit there," he says. Jiang Ming chuckles and moves, while Lu Shi feels guilty for him. Sheng notices and asks if she wants him to switch seats, but Lu Shi refuses, saying, "People can sit wherever they like." During class, Lu Shi leans over to show Sheng where the teacher left off, and their fingers nearly touch, just like before. Later, when sunlight distracts Lu Shi, Sheng subtly shifts his seat to block it, making her heart flutter. Jiang Ming, watching from behind, notices Sheng's quiet care and smiles. This reminds Lu Shi of a school memory. Once, when Sheng fell asleep in class, she supported his head so he wouldn't get hurt, cherishing the closeness until the bell rang. Back in the present, Sheng writes Lu Shi a note and they start exchanging messages about movies. When Lu Shi mentions her favorite, Only Yesterday, Sheng is stunned. It's the same movie a girl once suggested to him at a window, but back then, Hania claimed it was her. Now Sheng wonders if it had been Lu Shi all along. Meanwhile, Gabby is busy when a friend asks him to invite Chan, his childhood crush, to a university event. Gabby agrees, still harboring feelings for her. Later, Gabby meets Bali, bringing her juice she doesn't like, but she accepts it anyway, saying, "That's love. We accept everything from the one we care about." When Gabby mentions the event, Bali excitedly asks him to get tickets and suggests they shop together, but Gabby declines. Sensing something is off, Bali asks, "Why are you being so nice?" Gabby finally confesses, "I want to break up with you. Chan is coming back and I need to face my feelings for her." Bali is heartbroken and begs him not to leave, but Gabby remains firm, saying she always knew how serious he was about Chan. Devastated, Bali throws the juice at him but later clings to him, refusing to let go. Gabby wavers but doesn't respond. Meanwhile, Lu Shi finishes class and Jiang Ming teases Sheng about his feelings for her. He suggests they invite Lu Shi to lunch. When they do, Lu Shi questions Sheng's intentions, asking if he's trying to fix their friendship or just being polite. Sheng apologizes for ignoring her messages, saying he was busy with competitions, but understands if she can't forgive him. Lu Shi smirks and agrees to join them, lighting up Sheng's face. As she packs her things, Sheng and Jiang Ming exchange playful glances, happy she's coming. On their way to lunch, they bump into Bali and Gabi. Lu Shi quickly notices Bali's strange behavior and pulls her aside, while Gabi takes Sheng to discuss the university event. Jiang Ming is left alone, wondering where everyone went. Lu Shi and Bali sit by a lake, where Bali finally admits, "He broke up with me." Lu Shi is shocked and furious, ready to confront Gabi, but Bali stops her. Instead, she shows Lu Shi a picture of Chan, saying, "Look how beautiful she is." Bali reveals that she once idolized Chan, who came from a wealthy family, played the shalom beautifully, and was admired by everyone, including Gabi, who had known Chan since childhood. A flashback shows Bali's friendship with Chan. After a performance, Bali asked to keep Chan's shalom, but Chan refused, treating it like a beloved pet. Later, Chan offered Bali a ride, but Bali declined, instead taking Chan's lunchbox, promising to return it with a tasty breakfast. As Chan left, Gabi watched from a distance, already captivated by her. In the present, Bali accidentally breaks Chan's lunchbox after bumping into a group of people. She demands they pay for it, but they refuse. Desperate, she runs to Lu Shi for help. Meanwhile, Gabi confronts the group, fighting them off while Bali, eyes closed, waits for his signal. When she finally opens her eyes and sees Gabi fighting for her, she's overwhelmed with gratitude. After the fight, Gabi casually suggests, "You're friends with Chan, right? I want to know a few things about her. Let's meet tomorrow morning at 7 a.m. at that French restaurant." Bali, flustered but hiding her feelings, agrees. When she arrives, Gabi is already waiting and immediately starts bombarding her with questions about Chan, where she's going to university, what kind of girls she likes, and more. Frustrated, Bali snaps, "You're not even letting me sit properly before asking about Chan." Gabi laughs, orders food, and impresses Bali by speaking French, explaining he learned it because of Chan. Bali reflects, "I met Gabi at a restaurant for the first time, but all he talked about was Chan." Despite her feelings, she enjoys the meal as Gabi helps her with the unfamiliar dish. Days later, Bali confronts Chan, asking why she's avoiding Gabi after accepting his public proposal. Chan coldly replies, "I said yes, so he wouldn't be embarrassed. That's the only reason." Bali defends Gabi, but Chan snaps, "If you like him so much, you date him. I don't like him at all." Just then, Gabi walks in and overhears everything. Furious, he throws the flowers he brought on the ground and storms off. Bali runs after him, but Gabi disappears. She searches everywhere, finally finding him drunk and collapsed outside his house. Despite Gabi pushing her away and hurting her leg, Bali refuses to leave him and takes him home. In the present, Bali and Lu Shi are having dinner. Bali jokes, "If I get drunk today, do you think Gabi will come to pick me up like I did for him?" Lu Shi laughs, but senses Bali's lingering pain. Bali shares how Gabi, heartbroken after Chan left for France, promised to date someone else until her return. The next day, he confessed to Bali, and they've been together since. But Bali admits, "I think my love has always been one-sided." Lu Shi feels deeply for Bali, realizing how much she's endured. Later, as they walk back to the drama club, they run into Gabi. Lu Shi confronts him, urging him to tell Bali the truth. Gabi coldly says, "You should forget me. It'll be better for you." But Bali snaps, "No, I will never give up on Gabi. He's my life, and no one can take care of him like I do." She turns to Lu Shi angrily. "You're asking me to stay away from Gabi, but if I asked you to forget Sheng, would you?" Lu Shi falls silent, realizing Bali's right. One-sided love always hurts. That night, Sheng returns to his room, and Jiang Ming teases him about sitting next to Lu Shi. Sheng finally admits, "Maybe I've started to like Lu Shi a little. I want to get to know her better. I was influenced by Hanya before, but now I want to follow my heart." Jiang Ming smiles, happy for Sheng. The next day, Sheng and Jiang Ming sit beside Lu Shi in class, but Ruchi enters with an application to join the class, staring directly at Sheng. Jiang Ming whispers, "I'm sure she joined because of you." When the teacher praises Lu Shi for her intelligence and beauty, Sheng teases her, "I've spoken to this teacher before. He says the same thing to every girl." Lu Shi laughs, realizing Sheng is teasing her back. Later, while submitting an assignment, Ruchi accidentally spills water on Sheng and fusses over him. The class laughs, seeing through her antics. Back at his seat, Sheng is embarrassed as Lu Shi and Jiang Ming tease him. In the library, Sheng brings Lu Shi snacks and juice, and Jiang Ming jokes, "This is all from Sheng's treat." Lu Shi beams with happiness, but Ruchi grabs a snack, saying, "Since it's from Sheng's treat, I'll take one." The trio laughs together, enjoying the moment. Later, Lu Shi reflects on Sheng's strange behavior. Why is he acting so differently? Sheng, thinking about Lu Shi, finally messages, "Are you still angry with me?" Lu Shi doesn't reply, mumbling, "Yes, I am. You got so close to me in the park, then treated me like a stranger." Frustrated, Sheng sends another message, "Can we have lunch together tomorrow?" "I'm free." Lu Shi's heart fills with happiness, and she agrees. The next day, as Lu Shi heads to meet Sheng, Ruchi stops her, saying, "I've been watching Hanya, and she's not keeping an eye on Sheng anymore. That's good news for both of us." Lu Shi laughs and continues to meet Sheng, reflecting, "This is the same person who didn't even know me in school, but today he invited me for lunch." At the restaurant, Sheng is surprised to see Lu Shi eating with 3 chopsticks, just like him. Lu Shi smiles, remembering, "How can I tell him I started eating like this after seeing him do it in school?" They talk and laugh, and Sheng finally shares, "You remind me of a girl I met in my childhood. I don't remember everything, but I know she saved me from bullies and helped me up. We played together after that, and I told her something, but I don't remember what." Lu Shi is stunned, realizing he still remembers her. When Sheng notices her tears, he asks, "Why are you crying?" Lu Shi quickly replies, "Because your story is so cute, hiding the truth that she was that girl." Hania is being harassed by a persistent boy asking her to watch a movie. She bumps into another boy solving a math problem, and when the first boy grabs her leg, the math genius lashes out, annoyed. Hania chases the harasser away and strikes up a conversation with the intelligent boy, quickly smitten when she learns he's a math genius. Elsewhere, Gabi struggles to text his crush, Chan. After much hesitation, he finally messages her about a university event. Chan responds coldly, "I won't come if your girlfriend Bali is there." Desperate to win her over, Gabi lies, replying, "She won't be there. I've broken up with Bali." Outside, Bali arrives with food for Gabi but overhears the entire conversation, heartbroken. When she enters, pretending she heard nothing, Gabi realizes the truth and apologizes. Bali brushes it off, but as she leaves, Gabi notices she brought his favorite dish. He runs after her, insisting, "We've broken up. You don't need to do this." Bali, with tears in her eyes, says, "I've always been there for you, through everything. How can you still leave me?" Gabi snaps, admitting he used her to get closer to Chan. Crushed, Bali whispers, "I'll never leave you, but let me go now. I have to save you a seat tomorrow like always," and walks away, holding back tears. Meanwhile, Sheng sits in his room, smiling as he thinks about Lu Shi. He still hopes to find the childhood friend he told Lu Shi about, not realizing it was her. Lu Shi, on the other hand, worries about Bali, who hasn't returned to their dorm. When Bali finally comes back, she claims she just wants to sleep early to buy breakfast for Gabby the next day. Lu Shi senses something is wrong, but doesn't press her. The next day, Jiang Ming performs magic tricks for Linji, the girl he likes. But Linji is only interested in Sheng. When Jiang Ming offers her a rose, she lashes out, accusing him of lying about Sheng's presence to get her to come. Jiang Ming's friends defend him, but Linji snaps, "I like Sheng, and he likes me." She storms off, and Jiang Ming follows, trying to explain. His friends, meanwhile, start to wonder if their girlfriends also have crushes on Sheng. Jiang Ming admits to Linji that he lied about Sheng being there, hoping she'd give him a chance. But Linji insists Sheng likes her, demanding to know where he is. Reluctantly, Jiang Ming tells her Sheng is in the library. Linji rushes there, finding Sheng with Lu Shi. Furious, she accuses Sheng of liking her but hanging out with another girl. Sheng, confused, clarifies, "I don't like you." "My friend Jiang Ming does." Linji fires back. "Then why did you like all my photos and stories?" Sheng realizes Jiang Ming used his account to interact with Linji. Jiang Ming nearby signals Sheng to stay quiet, but Sheng tells the truth. "Jiang Ming liked your posts, not me." Linji is stunned and lashes out at Jiang Ming for wasting her time. Embarrassed and furious, Jiang Ming punches Sheng. "You always steal every girl I like." Lu Shi intervenes, trying to calm Jiang Ming down. Sheng adds, "If hitting me helps you let go of this anger, I'll gladly take it." But Jiang Ming storms off. Later, he catches up with Linji, revealing that he was the one who left jackets on her when she fell asleep in the library, not Sheng. Linji, shocked, quietly walks away, leaving Jiang Ming heartbroken. Back with Lu Shi and Sheng, Lu Shi tends to Sheng's injury, applying medicine carefully. "You're fine now, but I feel bad for Jiang Ming. He's my friend too, and I hope things get better soon," she says. Sheng nods. "Yeah, I hope everything gets better too." As Lu Shi finishes, they both realize how close they've gotten. Their eyes meeting, tension lingering in the air. Sheng and Lu Shi find themselves growing closer after an unexpected rooftop meeting. Sheng shows Lu Shi a question he had written on the wall, admitting he doesn't know who answered it. Lu Shi, realizing it was her response, stays silent, worried Sheng might think she's been following him. Their quiet moment is filled with unspoken feelings, and Lu Shi hides her emotions, afraid of revealing too much. Later, Sheng recalls a time he heard a girl singing a cute song, and when he started humming the same tune, Lu Shi laughed, surprised at his attention to small details. However, things take a turn when Lu Shi notices a confession she wrote on the wall about her feelings for Sheng. Panicking, she quickly steps in front of it to block Sheng from seeing, then urges him to leave, keeping her secret hidden. Back at the dorm, Lu Shi finds Bali unusually serious. Bali questions Lu Shi about her recent behavior, skipping classes, avoiding the canteen, and staying in her room. Bali admits she's focusing on her studies to move past her feelings for Gabby, which leaves Lu Shi thoughtful and silent. Their friendship remains strong, with unspoken support between them. Meanwhile, Jiang Ming, who had a falling out with Sheng after a fight, tries to reconnect. Watching Sheng from a distance in class, Jiang Ming finally approaches him and suggests they play baseball. During the game, Jiang Ming apologizes for losing his temper, and Sheng accepts, rekindling their friendship. Their bond is restored, showing how misunderstandings can be mended with time. In class, Lu Shi and Sheng's playful side emerges. Jiang Ming takes a photo of Lu Shi looking bored and sends it to her with a teasing message. Lu Shi responds by secretly snapping a picture of Sheng, poking fun at his messy hair. Sheng, embarrassed, quickly fixes it, making Lu Shi laugh. Their small interactions reveal a growing connection, filled with lighthearted teasing. Later, Lu Shi encounters Linji, who confronts her about Sheng, claiming he likes her but won't admit it. Lu Shi denies being Sheng's girlfriend and gently tells Linji that love doesn't need proof. If Sheng truly liked her, he'd have shown it. Linji becomes emotional, questioning Sheng's feelings, and Lu Shi comforts her, suggesting she consider someone who genuinely cares for her, hinting at Jiang Ming. Afterward, Jiang Ming thanks Lu Shi for helping clear things up with Linji. He admits his feelings for Linji and shares his frustration over being rejected by many girls, but he remains hopeful. Lu Shi encourages him, wishing him luck in winning Linji's heart. Their conversation highlights the supportive friendship that's developed between them. Sheng later invites Lu Shi to his uncle's bar opening, hinting it'll be just the two of them. Nervous but excited, Lu Shi prepares with Bali's help, who treats it like Lu Shi's first date. At the event, Sheng compliments Lu Shi and jokes about them wearing matching outfits, subtly hinting at his feelings. They spend the evening laughing and enjoying each other's company, bringing them even closer together. Lu Shi and Sheng were happily spending time together when the scene shifted to Hania, who was visiting her best friend Rose. Hania, visibly upset, confided in Rose about her father's decision to remarry after her mother's suicide, feeling betrayed and abandoned. Rose tried to comfort her, but Hania's anger was overwhelming. Meanwhile, Lu Shi playfully stepped on bricks, explaining to Sheng how her mother taught her this trick to distract from pain during long delivery walks. Touched, Sheng softly said, "I hope to be the second person who can take your pain away," leaving Lu Shi surprised and moved. Just then, Sheng received a frantic call from Rose about Hania's breakdown. Sheng rushed off, but Lu Shi insisted on coming along. At Rose's art class, they found chaos. Hania had destroyed the room in a fit of rage. When Sheng arrived, Hania, disheveled and holding something sharp, accused him of forgetting her and demanded his love. Sheng carefully calmed her down, but when Hania saw Lu Shi, her fury exploded and she fainted from the stress. Sheng carried her to the hospital, with Lu Shi and Rose following closely behind. At the hospital, Rose confronted Sheng, accusing him of ignoring Hania during school. Lu Shi stepped in, explaining she wasn't trying to be unfriendly, but was advised by friends to keep her distance. Sheng admitted he had been avoiding Hania after their breakup, shocked to learn from Rose that Hania's mother's suicide had deeply traumatized her. Rose explained that Hania had started to heal with Sheng, but after he left, her condition worsened. Both Sheng and Lu Shi felt deep sympathy for Hania's struggles. When Hania regained consciousness, she sent a photo to her father, demanding he pick her up. Memories flooded back of being mocked at school after her mother's death, and even a classmate's offer of support was met with Hania's anger. Frustrated, the girl left, and Hania began hurting herself, only to be comforted by Rose. In the present, Rose begged Sheng to return to Hania's life, but Sheng remained silent, glancing at Lu Shi. Feeling heartbroken, Lu Shi quietly left, believing she had lost Sheng once again. Later, Sheng tried to comfort Lu Shi, but she walked away without a word. Meanwhile, Hania clung to Sheng at the hospital, begging him not to leave again. Sheng gently explained, using Lu Shi's words, that while everyone has problems, they must face them themselves. Hania bitterly noted how Sheng's attitude had changed, blaming Lu Shi for his distance. Sheng admitted that with Lu Shi, he felt like he could be himself, but made it clear he couldn't be in a relationship with Hania again. Hania reflected on her past with Sheng, remembering how a simple apology note on a Pepsi bottle had warmed her heart when she was at her lowest. That small act of kindness grew into deep feelings for Sheng, making Pepsi her favorite drink. She recalled how Sheng had once accepted a drink from her during a basketball game, and she believed it was a sign of his affection. These memories only deepened her pain in the present, knowing things had changed. Meanwhile, Lu Shi struggled with her emotions. Watching Sheng and Hania together brought back memories of school, where she silently loved Sheng from afar, while Hania was his girlfriend. Rose teased Lu Shi about their unexpected rivalry, but Lu Shi was too hurt to engage. Sheng tried to talk to Lu Shi, but she urged him to return to Hania, though he refused. As they interacted, Lu Shi's mother saw them together and was shocked, recognizing Sheng and his family. A flashback revealed the source of Lu Shi's mother's tension. Years ago, she had gone to Sheng's house pleading for something, only to be harshly dismissed by his mother. Young Lu Shi had witnessed this painful encounter, which left a lasting impression. After Lu Shi's mom spotted her with Sheng and showed clear disapproval, Lu Shi still accepted the gloves Sheng offered, signaling that she had forgiven him. The two left together, their bond seemingly stronger. Later, at home, Lu Shi surprised her mom by cooking her favorite noodles. Her mother smiled warmly, missing her daughter's presence. While reminiscing, her mom mentioned taking Lu Shi to a church wedding after her father's death. Though her mom didn't explain much, Lu Shi vividly recalled that day. It was when she first met Sheng. Meanwhile, in the hospital, Hania muttered to herself, determined not to let Sheng slip away from her, showing that she hadn't given up yet. The next day in the library, Sheng joined Lu Shi for a study session, but he was more focused on her than the books. Despite Lu Shi's efforts to get him to concentrate, he kept sneaking glances. Later, at the canteen with Bali, who was still grieving over Ba, Lu Shi noticed Bali's sudden cheerfulness at seeing her and Sheng together. Bali had thought, after their last call, that Lu Shi and Sheng might have broken up. As they ate, Jiang Ming joined them, but his phone buzzed non-stop with calls from Hania, which he ignored. Suddenly, Hania appeared, surprising everyone. She told Jiang Ming to move over and sat beside Sheng, wanting to discuss something important. When Bali tried pulling Lu Shi away, Hania stopped them, claiming what she was about to say concerned Sheng's future. Lu Shi stayed, thinking, "Of course I want to hear it. I'm part of Sheng's future." Hania then introduced a capital investment competition where the winner could launch a business with funding from major companies. Hania handed Sheng the application form, confident he would win. Lu Shi chimed in, saying she'd heard of the competition too and praised the opportunity. She confidently added that Sheng had probably already made up his mind, and Sheng confirmed he'd been planning to join since his teacher had told him about it. Lu Shi and Sheng began discussing the competition details, much to Hania's frustration, as she believed no one else knew about it. Annoyed, Hania abruptly said they'd talk later and stormed off. After Hania left, Sheng turned to Lu Shi and asked if she would support him in the competition, mentioning how much he valued her advice. Lu Shi smiled, assuring him of her support. Jiang Ming teased Sheng, lightening the mood. Later, Sheng gathered his team for the competition, which included Lu Shi, Jiang Ming, and his 2 roommates. Hania also joined the team, much to Lu Shi's annoyance. Sheng introduced his project, the Child Loss Prevention app, designed to locate missing children using GPS tracker bracelets and CCTV integration. Hearing this, Lu Shi recalled Sheng mentioning the idea before when she was feeling lost, realizing he had been working on it for a long time. The team loved the idea, and Sheng's roommates joked about using it for their future kids. Jiang Ming teased Sheng and Lu Shi, causing everyone to laugh. Lu Shi felt genuinely happy in that moment, but Hania was visibly irritated by how close Lu Shi and Sheng had become. Sheng then declared, "We're going to complete this project and ace the competition." Lu Shi placed her hand on Sheng's, followed by the rest of the team. Hania hesitated, struggling to join in, her hand unable to reach Sheng's. Word quickly spread across campus that Sheng, the top student, was entering the competition, and everyone believed he would win. Students scrambled to join his team, hoping to benefit from his success. Meanwhile, a group of seniors, confident in their own chances, grew anxious upon hearing about Sheng's participation. They confronted him during a meeting, accusing him of having an unfair advantage due to his wealthy background. Sheng stayed silent, refusing to argue. But Hania couldn't hold back and fired back at them, leaving the seniors speechless. Later, Gabi, another team member, offered them access to an office space using a card his father had given him. Sheng hesitated, but Hania quickly accepted on behalf of the team. As Sheng's reputation grew, more students tried to join his team, but Ruchi stepped in to protect Sheng from the overwhelming attention. In class, Sheng appeared stressed from the pressure. Jiang Ming whispered to Lu Shi about Sheng's exhaustion from rejecting people and the incomplete project setup. When Sheng made a frustrated noise in class, the teacher scolded both him and Lu Shi, pushing Lu Shi to step in and help. During a break, Lu Shi brought Sheng a refreshing drink and gently advised him not to stress too much and to focus on getting the setup ready. Her words gave Sheng renewed confidence. Soon after, the team met to plan their purchases. When they arrived at Gabi's office the next day, they were amazed by the spacious and beautiful setup. They eagerly began their work, and when Lu Shi suggested changes to improve the app's design, the team applauded her ideas. Sheng was especially impressed, delighted by Lu Shi's sharp mind and support. The next day, Lu Shi and Sheng tested the app in the park. Lu Shi wandered deep into the park while Sheng tracked her location, but a glitch caused the app to malfunction, and he lost her signal. Growing worried, Sheng eventually found Lu Shi. "Follow me," he said gently. As they walked back, Lu Shi accidentally bumped into Sheng, who was looking at her with deep affection. They decided to rest under the falling leaves, sharing a peaceful, quiet moment. Playfully, Sheng placed a leaf on Lu Shi's face and teased, "You look really cute." Lu Shi smiled, her heart full as she looked back at Sheng with love in her eyes. It felt like her dreams had finally come true. Bali stepped out of a convenience store, lost in memories of Gabi. She recalled bringing him small gifts, which he often dismissed, except for the one time he genuinely appreciated a lunchbox she picked out. Clinging to that rare moment of gratitude, Bali brought more of Gabi's favorite items, hoping to rekindle something between them. But as she approached his friends, she overheard them saying, "Gabi's meeting Chan today." He looked so excited, giving Chan the invitation, all dressed up nicely. Her heart sank, but she still walked inside, only to be met with an awkward silence. "Gabi's not here. We don't know where he is," someone muttered. Heartbroken, Bali quietly left. Meanwhile, Lu Shu and Sheng walked together, discussing their project. Sheng smiled and promised, "When the tracker bracelet arrives, I'll give it to you first." Lu Shi, glowing with happiness, teased, "What about that girl you met outside the church when we were kids?" Sheng chuckled, "She'll get the second bracelet." Lu Shi imagined, finally confessing, "I'm that girl from the church you've been searching for." In her daydream, Sheng cupped her face and whispered, "That's why I always felt like we've met before." But just as she pictured this perfect moment, Lu Shi snapped back to reality. She hadn't told Sheng anything yet. The scene shifted to Bali walking back to the dorm when she noticed Gabi sitting in a French restaurant, dressed up and waiting for Chan. She watched from outside as Gabi's face lit up upon Chan's arrival. Gabi eagerly handed Chan an invitation and nervously tried to hold his hand, but Chan pulled away. Flustered, Gabi apologized, but Chan teased him, prompting Gabi to try again. They sat down, deep in conversation, with Chan giving Gabi a chance to start something new. Watching from outside, Bali's heart ached, but she told herself, if Gabi's happy, that's all that matters. Later, Lu Shu arrived at the office to find everyone asleep after working late into the night. Sheng, still awake, was in another room. As Lu Shi quietly observed everyone's work, she stumbled upon Sheng's notebook and found the leaf they had caught together in the park pressed inside. Touched by the small gesture, she held the leaf gently, but when Sheng walked in, she quickly put it back and shifted the conversation to the project, hiding her emotions. Meanwhile, Gabi and Chan exited the restaurant, walking toward Gabi's car. They stopped abruptly when they noticed Bali asleep beside it. Gabi's face turned cold. "What are you doing here? We've broken up. Why do you keep showing up?" Bali, holding back tears, softly replied, "I just wanted to give you these things. I made sure they're exactly how you like them this time." Chan, frustrated, snapped, "Why is she still clinging to you? Haven't you told her it's over?" The two harshly scolded Bali until Chan stormed off saying, "Sort things out with her first, then call me." After Chan left, Bali apologized again, whispering, "I promise I won't bother you anymore. I'm sorry for ruining your date." But Gabi lashed out, accusing her of trying to ruin his happiness. Hurt but calm, Bali apologized once more and began walking away. Realizing he'd gone too far, Gabi stopped her. "Let me drop you back to your dorm," he muttered. "But remember, this is the last time." During the silent ride, Gabi kept repeating, "I really loved you, but this is the last time we're talking." Bali didn't respond, turning her face away as silent tears rolled down her cheeks. When they reached the dorm, Gabi realized Bali had fallen asleep, burning with a high fever. Despite her weak protests, Gabi stayed with her, leaving medicine and a note that read, "Goodbye, for the last time." After Sheng announced his decision to release the app for free, everyone stormed out, leaving him feeling isolated. Only Lu Shi supported him, but even she left when Sheng asked for space, giving him time to reflect. Meanwhile, Hania spent time with her friend Jerry, a math genius who secretly had feelings for her. When Jerry teased her about her love for Coke, hinting he preferred jasmine tea, Hania quickly caught on. "If you can beat Sheng, maybe I'll think about dating you," she said. Jerry sighed, pointing out that Hania didn't truly love Sheng, but was obsessed with controlling him. Hania dismissed his words, insisting, "I can't imagine life without Sheng. We're meant to be together." Later, Lu Shu and Bali were hanging out when Lu Shi suddenly asked, "What's it like to kiss someone?" Bali's eyes widened with excitement. "Wait, did you kiss Sheng?" Lu Shi laughed nervously, explaining that their lips accidentally touched. Bali gasped dramatically, teasing Lu Shu about getting a proper kiss soon. They both burst into laughter before heading out. Later, when Lu Shi arrived at the office, she found it empty and called Sheng. When she reached his location, she was shocked to see him completely drunk. "Stop drinking," she scolded, but Sheng refused to move, mumbling that he wanted to see the stars. Lu Shi sighed and dragged him to the rooftop, where he finally opened up about his struggles with his father's expectations and the pressure to win the competition. On the rooftop, Sheng confided in Lu Shi about his father's lack of faith in him and the ultimatum he'd been given to win the competition or be sent abroad to work in the family business. "I started this app to help people for free," he said, "but now I'm confused after hearing my team's reactions." Lu Shi gently encouraged him to follow his heart, reminding him that his original dream wasn't wrong. Her words gave Sheng the clarity he needed. He sent a voice message to the group declaring his final decision to release the app for free. Though Jiang Ming tried to get the others to listen, they were too preoccupied with their own distractions to pay attention. The next day, on the competition day, everyone arrived on time, except Sheng and Lu Shi, who were stuck in traffic. Panicking, they jumped out of the car and started running. While sprinting, Lu Shi collided with a cyclist and injured her leg. Sheng carried her on his back, but struggled to keep going. Lu Shi insisted he leave her behind and focus on the competition. After much convincing, Sheng reluctantly agreed and sprinted ahead, leaving Lu Shi watching him disappear into the distance. Despite his efforts, Sheng arrived late, and the team ultimately lost the competition. The seniors mocked them, flaunting their victory, but Sheng confronted them, accusing them of stealing ideas from previous competitions and tweaking their project with stolen concepts. Despite the loss, Sheng remained composed, vowing to expose the seniors' dishonesty. Hania and Gabi supported him, while Jiang Ming was ready to fight, but Sheng kept the peace. After the competition, Jiang Ming revealed that Lu Shi had messaged the group, urging them to support Sheng's vision. Curious, Sheng sprinted to find Lu Shi, reading her heartfelt message along the way. When he found her, he asked softly, "Why didn't you call Bali for help?" Lu Shi smiled faintly, explaining she didn't want to bother Bali, who was emotionally drained. Sheng thanked her for always supporting him and invited her to go out again, hinting at their unfinished business from their last trip. The next day, Sheng and Lu Shi finally went on their trip, wearing matching sweatshirts. As they rode in a rickshaw, the driver assumed they were a couple. Lu Shi tried to correct him, but Sheng confidently said, "Yes, we are a couple." Lu Shi blushed, her heart fluttering. They arrived at a scenic spot to take photos, but Lu Shi found herself secretly snapping pictures of Sheng instead. As she looked at him through the lens, her heart swelled with joy. She never imagined creating such beautiful memories with Sheng, but in that moment, she realized how much he meant to her. The scene ended with Lu Shi smiling quietly, cherishing the unexpected happiness Sheng had brought into her life. At the beginning of Part 6, we see Sheng and Lu Shi share tender moments that reveal deep, unspoken feelings between them. Lu Shi recites a poem, hinting at her past affection, but Sheng admits he never read her poems, unaware they were all written with him in mind. This hurts Lu Shi, though Sheng promises to cherish her work moving forward. During a rickshaw ride, a driver's playful poem about their names subtly mirrors their connection, leaving Lu Shi secretly delighted. Their bond grows stronger as they go skating, where Sheng's care and attention make Lu Shi's heart flutter, though she worries that her small lies to impress him might eventually push him away. Parallel to their budding romance, Gabi struggles with feelings of neglect and rejection. She defies her mother's push for blind dates, hoping to win Sheng's attention, but is heartbroken that he never noticed her. Jiang Wing tries to console her, but Gabi lashes out, revealing her deep insecurities and loneliness. Even when Linji bluntly calls her weird, Gabi's frustration grows, though Jiang Wing's quiet support hints at a deeper connection. Meanwhile, Hania wrestles with her lingering feelings for Sheng, reacting angrily to online comments about his loss in a competition and stirring tension with her friend Rose, who struggles with her own artistic insecurities. As Sheng and Lu Shi's relationship blossoms, outside forces threaten to unravel their connection. Hania, driven by jealousy and bitterness, digs into Lu Shi's family history, revealing that Lu Shi's father died in an accident at Sheng's father's factory. Hania tries to use this information to drive a wedge between them, but Sheng grows frustrated with her meddling. At the same time, Lu Shi, oblivious to the looming threat, enjoys her time with Sheng, but grows anxious after her friend Bali predicts bad luck in her love life. As their paths intertwine, love, secrets, and misunderstandings set the stage for an emotional turning point in their story. Hania confronts Sheng with a shocking revelation. The worker who died in the fire at Sheng's father's factory was Lu Shi's father. She warns Sheng that Lu Shi might be using him to get revenge. Although stunned, Sheng dismisses Hania's claims, insisting it's between him and Lu Shi, but the seed of doubt lingers. Later at home, Sheng questions his mother about the fire, only to discover a cold, bitter truth. His mother blames the worker for the accident and had heartlessly turned away his grieving family when they sought compensation. Overcome with guilt, Sheng silently leaves, grappling with the pain Lu Shi must have endured, while Lu Shi waits for a response to her message, unaware of the turmoil Sheng is facing. As Sheng distances himself, Lu Shi becomes increasingly worried about his sudden silence. She seeks reassurance from Zhang Wing, who tells her Sheng isn't feeling well, though he grows frustrated with Sheng's emotional withdrawal. Meanwhile, Lu Shi's concern leads her to prepare soup for Sheng, but when she twists her ankle on the way, Sheng, paralyzed by his mother's hateful words and his own confusion, watches from afar without offering help. Despite her pain, Lu Shi perseveres, delivering the soup anonymously. Sheng's roommate questions why he avoids Lu Shi, but Sheng remains silent, haunted by his conflicting feelings. At the same time, Hania schemes to co-host a university event with Lu Shi, hoping to use the opportunity to drive a wedge between her and Sheng. Lu Shi, heartbroken and confused, struggles with Sheng's emotional distance. Even when she tries to care for him, Sheng ignores her efforts, leaving her devastated. In class, Sheng avoids sitting with Lu Shi and instead sits next to Gabi, causing more confusion and pain. When Gabi embarrassingly blurts out her feelings for Sheng, she gets expelled from class, adding to the tension. After class, Lu Shi watches Sheng leave with Hania, realizing he's deliberately avoiding her. Desperate for answers, she floods Sheng with messages, pleading for an explanation, but receives nothing in return. Overwhelmed by the repeated cycle of closeness and sudden distance, Lu Shi breaks down, her heart aching from the silence and rejection. Lu Shi is heartbroken over Sheng's sudden coldness, but when Gabi invites her to a discussion, she clings to the hope that Sheng might be there. Upon arrival, she finds Sheng and Hania, with Hania immediately questioning Gabi's decision to invite Lu Shi. Gabi defends Lu Shi's presence, seeking her advice for an event, and Lu Shi offers thoughtful suggestions that even Sheng acknowledges, though he still refuses to speak to her. Noticing this, Hania begins to taunt Lu Shi, prompting Gabi to step in and suggest Lu Shi leave. Afterward, Hania tries to invite Sheng for coffee, but he declines, leaving Hania fuming at Gabi. Later, during a heavy rainstorm, Lu Shi receives a message from Sheng offering to pick her up. Though she's safe in her dorm, Lu Shi, excited to finally hear from him, lies and rushes to a cafe. When Sheng arrives, he hands her a raincoat, but Lu Shi recognizes it as Hania's, realizing something is off. A flashback reveals that Hania manipulated Sheng into testing Lu Shi's feelings by giving her the raincoat, claiming it would reveal her intentions. Despite knowing this, Lu Shi accepts the raincoat with a forced smile, but once Sheng leaves, she discards it and walks into the rain, heartbroken. Sheng watches from afar, realizing Hania was wrong about Lu Shi, and both are left crying in the rain. Meanwhile, Bali faces her own heartbreak when Chan manipulates her into meeting him, only to reveal he's now dating Gabi. Hurt and humiliated, Bali walks home in the rain, and Lu Shi later comforts her. Both girls share their painful experiences, but their friends Lemay and Xiao surprise them with food and laughter, lifting their spirits. Sheng, on the other hand, struggles with regret, knowing he's hurt Lu Shi deeply. Days pass, and Lu Shi avoids Sheng, even as memories of him linger. When Zhang Wing invites Lu Shi to join his part-time job, she agrees, but is caught off guard when she sees Sheng there. Unable to face him, she leaves, and Sheng, consumed by guilt and love, lets her go, believing it's best to stay apart, at least for now. Gabi is dating his childhood crush, Chan, but the relationship leaves him feeling empty and disconnected. Meanwhile, the spotlight shifts to Rose, who eagerly plans to surprise Lu Shi's brother, Yang, only to discover that he is engaged to a woman named Susie, with their wedding fast approaching. Susie pressures Yang to find a stable job, while Yang insists on pursuing his passion for teaching painting to children. This tension spills over when Rose confronts Susie, questioning her love for Yang and warning her not to force him to abandon his art. Susie dismisses Rose, asserting her long-term commitment to Yang, but Rose's words plant seeds of doubt, leaving Susie uneasy about her fiancé's true feelings. As Lu Shi visits Yang and Susie, she tries to support their relationship, believing Susie is good for her brother. However, when she spots Rose lurking nearby, Lu Shi confronts her, demanding she stay out of Yang's life. Rose, unbothered, threatens to reveal secrets from Lu Shi's diary to Sheng, adding to Lu Shi's stress. Despite Lu Shi's reassurances to Susie about handling the situation, Rose continues to interfere, leaving Yang conflicted. His interactions with Rose reveal an underlying fondness, though he insists nothing is going on. Meanwhile, Lu Shi struggles with Rose's threats and Sheng's distance, all while trying to maintain peace in her brother's life. Elsewhere, Sheng stumbles upon his high school photo album and regrets not noticing Lu Shi back then, wondering how different things might have been. Lu Shi, fed up with Rose's threats, boldly tells her to expose whatever she wants but to leave Yang alone. Rose later vents her frustrations to Hania, who remains obsessed with breaking up Lu Shi and Sheng, despite Rose pointing out that Sheng only trusts Lu Shi now. Lu Shi, determined to move forward, throws herself into helping Gabi with a university show, but Hania intercepts her efforts, stealing a crucial USB drive. As Lu Shi tries to escape memories of Sheng by attending Jiang Wing's basketball game, she realizes how deeply their complicated history has affected her. At the same time, Jiang Wing confesses that his long-desired relationship with Linji isn't fulfilling, mirroring Gabi's realization with Chan. Both Lu Shi and Sheng are left grappling with their feelings, each wondering if their connection was ever genuine or just a byproduct of past wounds and misunderstandings. Lu Shi takes on a one-day tour guide job through Jiangming, confidently guiding tourists while hiding her emotional turmoil. A flashback reveals that Lu Shi once rejected a necklace from her mother because Sheng had gifted the same one to Hania, sparking lingering sadness. Later, Sheng notices Lu Shi looking upset and approaches her, offering an umbrella as rain threatens. Lu Shi, still hurt, accuses Sheng of only acknowledging her when it suits him. When Sheng confronts her about her feelings, referencing photos from her diary shown by Hania and Rose, Lu Shi finally snaps. She bitterly admits her long-standing love for him, confessing to pretending to share his interests in hopes he'd notice her. Overwhelmed by rejection and regret, she declares she'll erase him from her life and storms off in tears, leaving Sheng stunned and realizing how little he truly understood her. Lu Shi, emotionally shattered, cuts her hair short in an attempt to reclaim her old self, the girl who loved books and didn't rely on anyone. Running through the rain, her tears blending with the drops, she collapses from emotional exhaustion. Meanwhile, Sheng sits outside, grappling with guilt and confusion, until his mother drags him inside. At the same time, Jiangming and Gabi find Lu Shi unconscious on the street and rush her to the hospital. When Lu Shi wakes up, she confides in Gabi that confessing to Sheng felt like torture, not relief. She believes Sheng sees her love as fake, and she doubts she'll ever have feelings for him again. Jiangming overhears this, deepening the tension. Later, Miss Mo and her children visit Lu Shi, offering comfort. Lu Shi tearfully admits to Miss Mo that her 15-year-long crush has ended painfully, feeling like her lies about shared interests convinced Sheng her feelings were insincere. Meanwhile, Sheng unexpectedly reunites with Miss Mo, his long-lost aunt, who reveals that Lu Shi has been tutoring her children. Sheng is shocked to learn that Miss Mo is his father's sister, and their family estrangement stemmed from her marriage into Susie's family, someone Sheng's father despised. As they talk, Miss Mo gently pushes Sheng to confront his feelings for Lu Shi, asking if she ever hurt him. Sheng admits she's always supported him, and Miss Mo advises him to trust her feelings instead of listening to others. Returning home, Sheng is deep in thought when his mother confronts him about his relationship with Lu Shi. Before he can answer, Gabi calls with urgent news, and Sheng leaves, telling his mother to stay out of his love life. His mother, furious, is left stewing over the idea that the daughter of a family she despises might become part of her son's future. He rushed to meet Gabi, who revealed a crisis. The USB with their script had gone missing. A girl claimed Lu Shi had given it to her, but someone took it, and now Lu Shi wasn't answering calls. Growing desperate, Gabi contacted Bali, who revealed that Lu Shi was in the hospital. Shocked, Sheng ran out immediately. Meanwhile, at the hospital, Jiang Ming was caring for Lu Shi. After he stepped away, Lu Shi spoke with her mother, who, unaware of her hospitalization, asked her to come home for her father's death anniversary. The conversation left Lu Shi emotional, overwhelmed by her mother's worries and the weight of her own struggles. When Jiang Ming returned, he comforted her, and soon they were laughing together. After Lu Shi was discharged, she, Jiang Ming, and Bali were heading home when a car pulled up with Gabi and Sheng inside. Lu Shi immediately suspected Jiang Ming had told Sheng about her hospitalization, but he quickly denied it. Despite Sheng's visible concern, Lu Shi refused to look at him. When she wouldn't get in the car, Sheng finally picked her up and placed her inside, leaving her shocked but silent. The car ride was tense, with Lu Shi snapping at Sheng when he tried to lighten the mood with music. Gabi, trying to ease the tension, brought up the missing script, pleading for Lu Shi's help. Despite everything, Lu Shi agreed, impressing everyone with her focus. While working, Bali clung to Gabi's side, refusing to leave, hinting at her lingering feelings. When they stepped out, Sheng seized the moment to ask Lu Shi why she cut her hair, but she coldly dismissed him. Sheng's attempts to reconnect fell flat, as Lu Shi made it clear she wanted nothing to do with him. Later, as they walked back, Bali praised Lu Shi for ignoring Sheng, wishing she could do the same with Gabi. They soon ran into Jiang Ming, who gave Lu Shi some healthy food and reminded her to take care of herself, prompting Bali to tease Lu Shi about his obvious affection, but Lu Shi insisted Jiang Ming was just a friend. The next day, while setting up university activity tents, Gabi lost an important accounting file, throwing everything into chaos. Bali rushed to help, and Lu Shi, suspecting Gabi was in trouble, joined them despite Sheng's protests. They worked late into the night, tensions simmering as Lu Shi kept her distance from Sheng. When they finally finished, Sheng tried once more to talk to Lu Shi alone, expressing his desire to be friends again. But Lu Shi, hardened by heartbreak, refused, telling him to think whatever he wanted about her. The next day, after successfully submitting the files, their professor praised the work, but Senior Yonggal shamelessly took the credit. Despite the setback, Sheng handed Lu Shi VIP tickets to an upcoming university ceremony, determined to find a way back into her heart. Later, Lu Shi spotted Hania's raincoat, the one Sheng had used to test her, and decided to return it. At the library, she handed it to Sheng without emotion, telling him it was cleaned and ready to return. Sheng realized she never wore it, and when he thanked her for that day, she shot back, saying she wasn't someone who forgives easily. As she walked away, Sheng was left standing there, realizing how much things had changed. Before, Lu Shi always looked back when he ignored her. Now, he was the one watching her walk away. Determined, he vowed to fix his mistakes and win her back, no matter what it took. The big show day finally arrives, and while a long line forms outside the venue, Lu Shi and Bali breeze through with their VIP tickets, securing front row seats. They're thrilled, unaware of the chaos unfolding backstage. Hania and Sheng are being scolded by Mr. Mo's assistant after the famous writer discovered Hania hadn't written the interview script. Unable to answer his questions, Hania caused Mr. Mo to refuse participation, leaving Gabi devastated as it's his first big event. Sheng quickly suggests they ask Lu Shi to step in. She's a huge fan of Mr. Mo and could impress him with her knowledge. Gabi loves the idea, but Hania protests, only for Yongle to silence her, blaming her for the mess. Meanwhile, Chan begins performing, captivating the crowd. Bali admires Chan's beauty and talent, joking that if she were a boy, she'd choose Chan too. Lu Shi laughs and assures Bali that she's the sweetest and kindest, predicting that Gabi will regret letting her go. Just then, Gabi rushes over, pleading for Lu Shi's help with the interview. Lu Shi agrees, and as she prepares, Hania surprisingly offers to do her makeup, insisting it's to uphold the university's reputation. When Lu Shi returns, everyone is stunned by how cute she looks. Hania then presents matching outfits for Lu Shi and Sheng, originally meant for herself, and the two head on stage together. During the interview, Lu Shi shines, answering all of Mr. Mo's questions with ease. Sheng can't take his eyes off her, realizing how amazing she is, while Bali proudly tells everyone that Lu Shi is her best friend. The show ends with a standing ovation, and later, Lu Shi's friends shower her with praise. Meanwhile, Hania reflects on her failure, feeling left out despite her efforts. Jerry finds her, encouraging her to perform her script for a small audience, which surprisingly garners applause and lifts her spirits. Elsewhere, Sheng, Jiangming, and Gabi discuss how incredible Lu Shi was, with Sheng admitting she hasn't even forgiven him yet, but still helped. Bali teases Lu Shi about how the whole university is now shipping her and Sheng, but Lu Shi brushes it off, though she secretly asks Bali to send her the photos. Later, Sheng and Jiangming invite Lu Shi to the canteen, but she refuses, focusing on her exams. After her exam, Lu Shi heads home to visit her mother, who missed her dearly. As she rides in the taxi, she finds herself thinking about Sheng, unsure if she should forgive him. Back at the university, Gabi throws a party to celebrate the show's success. Sheng, dressed up, secretly hopes Lu Shi will be there, but Gabi reveals she declined the invitation. At the party, Gabi introduces Chan as his girlfriend, but tensions rise when Yonggol invites Bali, knowing it would stir trouble. Bali is shocked to see Chan, and the atmosphere becomes uncomfortable. Sheng, noticing Bali's discomfort, invites her to sit with him. Bali calls out Sheng for his inconsistency with Lu Shi, reminding him of how much he hurt her. Sheng is left speechless, and Bali storms off, only to be confronted by Chan, who warns her to stay away from Gabi. Bali fires back, asserting that Gabi isn't a possession. Meanwhile, Sheng, shaken by Bali's words, decides he can't let Lu Shi slip away and sets off for Harvin to find her, despite not knowing her exact address. The next day, Lu Shi visits her father's grave with her mother, getting emotional as her mother talks about how proud her father would be of her. Meanwhile, Sheng arrives in Harvin, searching everywhere for Lu Shi but finding no sign of her. Frustrated and determined, he heads to their old high school, hoping for a clue, only to run into Hania unexpectedly. The encounter leaves both of them shocked, hinting that there's more to unfold in their intertwined stories. When Sheng arrives at school, he's surprised to see Hania, who seems genuinely happy to see him. However, when Sheng mentions he's there because of Lu Shi, Hania's mood changes. She warns him about the deep-seated grudge between their families, suggesting his mother will never accept Lu Shi. Sheng brushes off her concerns, making it clear that it's his problem to handle. Meanwhile, Lu Shi walks down memory lane at her old school, reflecting on her feelings for Sheng. She bumps into Rose, who is grappling with her own heartbreak over Sheng's cousin Yang. As they talk, Rose questions whether Lu Shi would ever give up on Sheng, but Lu Shi remains silent, unsure of her own heart. Later, Lu Shi runs into Sheng near her house. He reveals he's been trying to reach her, worried when she didn't respond. Though touched, Lu Shi is hesitant about his intentions, especially after learning he met with Hania earlier. Their dinner turns tense when Sheng refuses to explain what he and Hania discussed, leaving Lu Shi upset and storming off. That night, Lu Shi discovers Sheng standing outside in the freezing cold, waiting for her forgiveness. While part of her is moved by his persistence, she messages him to go home, but Sheng refuses. Eventually, Lu Shi leaves him a bowl of soup by the window, a small gesture showing she still cares, though her heart remains conflicted. The next day, Sheng and Lu Shi head back to university together. Despite Lu Shi's cool demeanor, Sheng remains hopeful, offering her favorite snacks and sharing music to lighten the mood. Meanwhile, Rose and Yang share a bittersweet final meeting, acknowledging their love but accepting that family obligations will keep them apart. Rose gives Yang a locket as a parting gift, and though their hearts ache, they both know they must move on. Back at university, another love story unfolds between Jiangming and Ruchi, though miscommunications leave their feelings unresolved. In a final attempt to reconcile, Sheng invites Lu Shi to the rooftop, confessing that he had always mistaken her for Hania back in school. Lu Shi admits she was the girl he used to talk to, but questions if that knowledge would have changed anything. Just as Sheng tries to express his feelings, a call from Hania interrupts, leaving Lu Shi furious and convinced Sheng isn't serious about her. She walks away, leaving Sheng heartbroken. Meanwhile, Zhang Ming faces his own heartbreak when Lin Qi dismisses his thoughtful gifts, revealing she never valued his efforts. Both Sheng and Zhang Ming are left to grapple with the pain of unrequited love, realizing that sometimes even the deepest feelings aren't enough. When Sheng tries to return Lu Shi's luggage, she coldly refuses to see him, making it clear she wants no further connection. Sheng is forced to hand the luggage over to Bali instead, wary of her due to their past encounter. Later, he witnesses Zhang Ming's heartbreak over Lindsay, reinforcing his belief that love is complicated. As the university faces a scandal involving Yonggle's cheating, Sheng and Lu Shi find common ground in their sympathy for him. Despite her initial distance, Lu Shi agrees with Sheng that Yongle deserves help, though she quickly pulls away when Sheng attempts to deepen their conversation. Their dynamic is filled with unspoken emotions, suggesting a deeper tension between them. As events progress, Sheng extends his kindness further by offering Yongle a place to stay after he is expelled from the dorms. However, this kindness is soon tested as Yongle begins using his roommate's belongings without permission, leading to humorous but frustrating moments in their shared living space. Despite this, Yonggle's hidden skills emerge when he provides expert massages, impressing everyone, including Sheng. Meanwhile, Lu Shi remains emotionally guarded, reinforcing the growing distance between her and Sheng. Even though they share similar thoughts about helping others, Lu Shi refuses to engage in a deeper personal connection, leaving Sheng at a standstill in their relationship. As the investors' meeting approaches, Sheng finds himself at the center of attention, with his reputation as a promising businessman drawing the interest of powerful figures like Mr. Yuan. In contrast, Yongle struggles to overcome his blacklisted status, desperately attempting to make connections but facing rejection. Lu Shi remains on the sidelines, observing Sheng's success but staying distant. Her reluctance to engage further with Sheng suggests an internal conflict that keeps her from reciprocating his growing attachment. While the meeting sets the stage for future opportunities, the lingering tension between Sheng and Lu Shi remains unresolved, hinting at deeper emotional struggles that may unfold in the future. Sheng continues to struggle with his growing feelings for Lu Shi while balancing professional opportunities. Despite the heavy interest from investors, he remains fixated on finding Lu Shi and ensuring she's okay. Meanwhile, Lu Shi encounters Mr. Yan, who, impressed by her intelligence and confidence, offers her a high-paying job. However, she turns it down, asserting that she is at the event purely for fun. Sheng's protectiveness over Lu Shi becomes evident when he hides Mr. Yan's business card, sensing ulterior motives. Despite their unresolved tension, Lu Shi reminds him she isn't interested in the job anyway. As Bali struggles with her heartbreak over Gabby, Lu Shi supports her, though Sheng's concern for Lu Shi remains clear, leading to an intense confrontation where he ultimately confesses his love and proposes marriage, shocking Lu Shi. Bali's heartbreak intensifies as she drowns in memories of her past with Gabby, feeling the weight of her unreciprocated emotions. At the event, Gabby spirals further into drinking, leading to an emotional outburst when Bali publicly distances herself from him. Bali, frustrated and overwhelmed, drinks the wine herself before leaving in tears, accompanied by Lu Shi. Outside, Bali declares that she must move on from Gabby to protect herself from further pain. Sheng watches their conversation, subtly acknowledging the warning Bali gives him about never hurting Lu Shi. Meanwhile, Chan, humiliated by Gabi's drunken state, finally cuts ties with him, leaving him devastated and alone on New Year's Eve. Gabi considers reaching out to Bali, realizing she has always been there for him. But before he can act, Mr. Yuan steps into Bali's life, offering her unexpected support. As the night progresses, Bali finds herself in an unexpected encounter with Mr. Yuan, who offers her comfort in her lowest moment. Unlike Gabi, he acknowledges her pain and encourages her to express her emotions freely. Their interaction hints at a new dynamic, as Mr. Yuan takes her phone and firmly warns Gabi to stay away. Bali, feeling empowered, screams her frustrations out of the car window, expressing her desire to move on. Mr. Yuan's presence adds a new layer of intrigue, making Gabi uneasy about who he is and what role he will play in Bali's life. Meanwhile, Sheng and Lu Shi's unresolved tension looms in the background, leaving room for uncertainty about whether their relationship will finally move forward or remain tangled in past wounds. Bali's unexpected connection with Mr. Yuan continues to develop as she celebrates New Year's Eve with him, leaving Lu surprised but happy for her friend. Meanwhile, Shay and Luz share a romantic rooftop moment as the new year begins, deepening their bond with promises for the future. However, the next day, Luz's happiness is short-lived as she sees Shay with his ex, Hania, seemingly about to kiss. Heartbroken, she leaves without hearing his explanation, reinforcing her belief that Shay repeatedly hurts her despite his declarations of love. Shay, realizing Hania had deliberately manipulated the situation, ends things with her for good, but the damage is done. Luz is devastated and unwilling to listen to his apologies. At the same time, Gabi attempts to mend his relationship with Chan, but his lingering connection to Bali sparks jealousy. When Chan discovers the messages Gabi sent to Bali, she becomes furious, leading to an explosive argument. Meanwhile, Bali enjoys a date with Mr. Yuan, though she still unconsciously compares him to Gabi, showing she is struggling to move on. Mr. Yuan gently advises her to stop reaching back into her past if she truly wants to heal. As Luz tries to distract herself from her heartbreak, she spends time with Zhang Ming, leading to lighthearted moments that make her smile again. Lindsay, seeing Luz and Zhang Ming getting close, starts feeling jealous and reflects on how she has taken Zhang Ming for granted. Shay, desperate to win Luz back, waits outside her dorm, but she refuses to see him. With Zhang Ming stepping in as her support system, Luz begins intentionally making Shay jealous, flipping the dynamic and making him feel the pain she endured when she saw him with Hania. As tensions rise, Shay's frustration spills over when he throws an object at Zhang Ming, escalating their rivalry. Luz, still bitter, refuses to acknowledge Shay's remorse, and Zhang Ming's growing presence in her life only fuels Shay's jealousy. Meanwhile, Bali delivers a crucial file to Yongle, revealing that Shay and Luz had secretly worked to help him remove his name from the blacklist and secure a deal for his project. Overjoyed, Yongle and his friends celebrate, marking a turning point in their future. Meanwhile, Gabi, still fixated on Bali, confronts her about her New Year's Eve companion. Bali, unwilling to reveal Mr. Yuan's name, panics and makes an excuse before leaving. At the canteen, Shay further asserts his claim over Luz, snatching her food from Zhang Ming, who merely laughs, understanding Shay's childish possessiveness. Later, Shay manipulates his way into Luz's tutoring session, winning over the children and frustrating Luz. Slowly, however, she starts believing Shay's explanation that his encounter with Hania was a setup, and her anger softens. As the emotional chaos unfolds, Gabi desperately tries to win back Chan, ultimately submitting to her controlling demands in exchange for her forgiveness. However, his frustration with her friend's interference hints at growing resentment. At the same time, Gabi continues to pull Bali back into his life, seeking her help with his studies. Bali, despite Luz's warnings, goes out of her way to assist him, even hiding under the table when Chan calls to check on him. Their dynamic remains complex. Bali wants to move on, but her lingering attachment to Gabi prevents her from fully letting go. Meanwhile, Hania learns that Jerry has risked his life to impress her, leading her to reconsider his devotion. On the other hand, Shay, after discovering Luz's hidden feelings through her writings, starts piecing together the truth about the diary and past manipulations, realizing how much Luz had truly cared for him all along. The drama intensifies when Luz finds Shay's old locket, a painful reminder of his past with Hania, and impulsively throws it away. When Shay arrives, she delivers a shocking kiss, only to declare that it was the end of her feelings for him. Shay, left stunned and heartbroken, barely has time to process what happened before a photo of the kiss spreads like wildfire. Rucha, furious and desperate for Shay's love, confronts him with the stolen diary, revealing her own unrequited affections. However, Shay, now determined to uncover the truth, forcefully takes the diary from her, leaving Rucha shattered. As the emotional turmoil reaches its peak, the realization sets in: love built on deception and manipulation can never truly succeed. Sheng struggles with his emotions after Lu Shi's unexpected kiss and rejection, leading him to reflect on how complicated his life has become. Jiang Wing, dealing with his own heartbreak, suggests that Lu Shi might have liked the old Sheng more. Taking his words to heart, Sheng decides to focus on his studies again, but it's clear that he hasn't given up on Lu Shi. Meanwhile, Lu Shi shares everything with Bali, who is shocked by the kiss. As Bali tries to balance her growing confusion between Mr. Yuan and Gabi, Lu Shi takes matters into her own hands by turning off Bali's phone, urging her to focus on herself. At the same time, Gabi begins to suspect that Mr. Yuan is the mysterious man Bali spent New Year's with, leading to a realization that makes him deeply uncomfortable. The tension between Lu Shi and Sheng continues to build as small moments bring them together. When Lu Shi learns that Sheng was the one secretly taking care of her through Jiang Wing, guilt starts creeping in. Had she misjudged Sheng all along? Meanwhile, Linji prepares to go abroad and admits to Lu Shi that she never truly appreciated Jiang Ming, accepting that she might have deserved the breakup. As Lu Shi delivers Linji's belongings to Jiang Wing, she runs into Sheng, who playfully exposes her failed attempt to avoid him. Sheng's lighthearted teasing and persistence show that he still cares deeply despite everything. As exams approach, jealousy flares up when Sheng sees Lu Shi with Mr. Yuan. He interrupts, offering Lu Shi his coat, but she refuses, making the tension even more obvious. Mr. Yuan, picking up on the rivalry, casually comments that he hopes things between them get resolved soon. With exams over, relationships reach a breaking point. Gabi's lingering emotions toward Bali intensify when he sees Mr. Yuan comforting her after an emotional breakdown. Seeing Gabi singing the song he once dedicated to her but now directing it toward Chan crushes Bali, and she runs away in tears with Mr. Yuan chasing after her. Meanwhile, Sheng makes a bold public confession at a party, expressing his deep love for Lu Shi and pleading for a chance to prove himself. As Lu Shi processes her feelings, she and Sheng grow closer, sharing intimate moments that reaffirm their connection. Their playful time at the beach marks a fresh beginning, filled with joy and romance. But while Lu Shi finds happiness, Gabi spirals into regret, realizing too late that he pushed away the one person who truly loved him. As he obsesses over Bali and her growing bond with Mr. Yuan, his jealousy and frustration build, hinting at further conflicts ahead. Sheng and Lu Shi have finally become a couple, sharing lighthearted moments and deepening their bond. Meanwhile, Bali continues to struggle with her lingering feelings for Gabi, falling into depression. As she distracts herself with mundane tasks, Lu Shi notices her distress and tries to cheer her up. When Lu Shi reveals that she and Sheng are now officially together, Bali momentarily forgets her pain, expressing pure joy for her friend. However, her own sadness remains evident, prompting her to decide to visit home for a few days. At the same time, Sheng receives a call from his mother, informing him of his grandfather's worsening health and the company's troubles. Before leaving, he shares the news of his relationship with Lu Shi with his friends, who tease him playfully. Jiang Ming jokingly calls himself Sheng's brother-in-law, making the group laugh and enjoy the moment before parting ways. As the holiday begins, Lu Shi and Sheng spend quality time together, sharing romantic gestures and deepening their connection. Sheng reassures Lu Shi, who is nervous about dating for the first time, making her feel safe and loved. However, Bali's situation grows more complicated when both Gabi and Mr. Yuan unexpectedly show up, leading to an argument over who will carry her bags. In the chaos, Bali gets injured, adding to her emotional distress. Meanwhile, Sheng returns home, ready to introduce Lu Shi to his family, but his mother immediately rejects the idea, declaring that Lu Shi could never be their daughter-in-law. Sheng firmly stands his ground, insisting that he will marry Lu Shi no matter what. While Lu Shi's mother is much more supportive, Sheng finds himself caught in his family's internal struggles over business inheritance. The tension in his household increases, leaving him anxious about the future. Back at the university, Bali finds herself overwhelmed as Gabi continuously calls and messages her. His desperation reaches a peak when he shows up in person, asking her directly if she would take him back if he peacefully broke up with Chan. Shocked, Bali is left speechless, unable to process his sudden change of heart. Lu Shi, standing beside her, is equally stunned by Gabi's words. Meanwhile, Hania is devastated to learn that Jerry, the man who risked everything for her, has fallen from a mountain and is now in a coma. Despite her past mistakes, she realizes how much he means to her and prays for his recovery. As the wedding preparations for Yang and Suzy unfold, Lu Shi finds closure with Rose, forging an unexpected friendship. However, as past relationships resurface and emotions remain unresolved, the new year brings both new beginnings and unfinished business, leaving everyone's future uncertain. Lu Shi receives exciting news from her teacher. She has been selected for an international seminar. Overjoyed, she shares the news with Sheng, who has just returned to the university, exhausted from caring for his grandfather while his family fights over their company. Despite his fatigue, Sheng promises to take Lu Shi on a date before she leaves for England, making her even happier. Their date takes place at the amusement park, where they run into Bali and Gabi. A light-hearted competition begins between Sheng and Gabi, each trying to outdo the other in making their respective partners happy. However, Lu Shi and Sheng choose to focus on their own time together, while Bali reminds Gabi that she hasn't accepted anything yet. As the day progresses, an unexpected realization strikes Sheng. Lu Shi was the girl who saved him outside the church when they were kids. Stunned, he asks why she never told him, to which she replies she was waiting for the right moment. With this revelation, Sheng repeats his childhood promise, "You're only mine," before proposing to Lu Shi, who happily accepts. As fireworks light up the night, their love feels stronger than ever, while Gabi realizes too late that Bali has truly moved on. The next day, Lu Shi leaves for England, promising to return soon, but her voiceover hints at an unforeseen separation. Years will pass before she sees Sheng again. They keep in touch through messages, but when Lu Shi returns to the university, she finds Jiang Ming instead of Sheng. Suspicious, she soon discovers that Jiang Ming had been pretending to be Sheng through texts. Jiang Ming reveals the heartbreaking truth: Sheng's life has collapsed. His grandfather has passed away, his father's company has gone bankrupt, his father is in jail, and his mother is in the hospital. Sheng, not wanting to burden Lu Shi, had asked Jiang Ming to keep her from worrying. Hearing this, Lu Shi breaks down, but she refuses to give up on him. Meanwhile, Sheng struggles to keep his family afloat as he faces workers demanding their wages and relatives refusing to help. His mother realizes their suffering is karma for what they once did to Lu Shi's family, while Sheng vows to fix everything on his own. Meanwhile, Bali unknowingly walks into a trap set by Chan, who conspires with Mr. Yuan to ruin her reputation. Just as Bali is led toward Mr. Yuan's hotel room, Lu Shi arrives in time to expose the scheme. Mr. Yuan is actually Chan's cousin, and this was all a setup. Gabi furiously confronts Chan, who breaks down, screaming that she only did it because she hated how Bali kept interfering in her relationship with Gabi. Sheng intervenes, taking Chan away and scolding her for her actions, declaring that the day she targeted Bali, she lost everything. With Chan's manipulation exposed, Gabi is left in shock, realizing how much he has wronged Bali. But it's too late. Bali, heartbroken, vows to never let anyone hurt her again. Sheng, unable to balance family and studies, decides to leave the university, shocking his friends. Despite their efforts to stop him, Sheng remains firm, believing he must prioritize his family. Lu Shi and the others watch as he leaves without a proper goodbye, bringing a bittersweet close to this chapter of their lives. Time passes, and Lu Shi graduates as a successful lawyer, while Bali becomes a famous writer. Meanwhile, Sheng rebuilds his life, starting a business with Jiang Ming's help. Years later, Sheng achieves great success, winning an investors' competition, marking a turning point in his career. At the same time, Jerry wakes up from his coma, bringing Hania immense relief, while Gabi still lingers in Bali's thoughts, though she refuses to be the same girl who once waited for him. Finally, fate brings Lu Shi and Sheng back together at a school event. As Lu Shi wonders if Sheng has forgotten her, he appears beside her, signing his name on the guest list. Overwhelmed, Lu Shi realizes that their love, once separated by time and circumstances, has finally come full circle. With nothing standing between them anymore, they are finally together, bringing the story to a heartfelt, joyous conclusion. Subscribe for more videos like this one, like the video, and don't forget to turn on the notifications to get the updates.